It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. Happy Thursday. I'm Will Bowling. Yesterday, the Titans had their first training camp practice of 2023. DeAndre Hopkins made his debut in a Titans practice jersey and left to catch a flight midway through practice. The team will not be on the practice field today. Their next practice scheduled for tomorrow. That's Friday morning. Elsewhere in the NFL, Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers has signed a reworked contract. He voluntarily reduced his salary by about $35 million over the next seasons in a report, according to ESPN.com. The 39-year-old former Green Bay Packer signed a 2-year, $75 million contract that is fully guaranteed. He was due to make close to $110 million in guarantees on his previous contract. For your foundation for repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Welcome to your Thursday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, a Friday Junior. And for the first time in months, we have got Titans practice to react to with our 11-year NFL veteran, our Capitalized J journalist, and everything else in between on the phone lines at 615-737-1045. We've got Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Jackson Williams filling in for Robert Walsh again this morning. I'm Will Bowling. It is Thursday, July the 27th, and we've got football to talk about. They may be in shorts, but we do not care. How are we doing?
We're good.
We're good. Well, we're real good. You're right. We don't care about it being in shorts because we still got real action yesterday, though. That's for sure.
It's storylines.
Yeah.
Endless, I feel like, this time of year.
Refreshing just to see it. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. I'm always shocked, though, by the music that plays at camp.
Why?
Or just
That's
at practice.
your first takeaway.
It
Really?
is. Yeah, because we never had
you didn't
music.
have it.
Didn't have it in college, which all
Okay.
colleges have. Didn't have it in Pittsburgh, which we're just that old school and I guess just old like that, I guess.
So that's why every morning when you come in, or you're even in here sometimes prepping,
yeah.
you've got your tunes on.
Yes.
That's why, because you were deprived of it as a football player.
Yes, I was,
I got it
Kayla.
now.
And I work good with music on, okay?
It's like when Jeremy Pruitt was asked why he didn't have music at Tennessee practices, and he goes, they have music in the games.
Oh, God.
And so I said, no. He said, well, that's probably why.
Oh, jeez.
I wish somebody would have said, yeah, they play it often, coach.
Before third downs, he played all the time.
That's what I'm saying. But it's for the tempo and rhythm, right, Will? Kayla, if y'all been around, I think that's what it's for. Like, guys always
the
are on
game?
the beat. No, like at practice.
Oh, at practice.
Keeps you just
Yeah.
moving, I guess, for the most part.
I prefer
I just
it.
thought it was just kind of hype you up.
Oh, no.
Keep you moving around.
They're supposed to be strategic in it. The beats per minute actually make the players somehow move, I guess, to the rhythm of it. Yeah.
I move. That is actually
Think about
interesting point because I do feel like I keep moving with music.
Yeah.
But if it was silent for a long period of time, I think it'd be harder to kind of keep that.
Keep it
Pace
yes,
going.
Absolutely.
So that makes sense.
Got some good tunes yesterday too, by the way.
Oh,
I was
they
just
always
like,
do.
Man, who's on the ones and twos?
What's his name? Stretch.
Stretch
does it.
Stretch got a solid
Shout
playlist.
out,
Will. Playlist was legit yesterday.
Yeah, it's good.
Stretch Frable's right-hand man.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
is.
yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, met him this weekend. Solid dude, tall dude too.
Very tall.
Yeah.
That's why, Stretch.
Stretch. Yep. Well, there it is.
Well, his last name is Stretcher also. Or
Right.
Striker. Well, however you say it.
Yeah.
Striker. I think.
Actually, I was going to say, like, I feel like his name just is Stretcher
I think it's
Right.
at this point.
Take him out on
Yeah.
the stretcher. It fits.
It
Tell you
does.
that
It
much.
definitely does. But football is back, man. Parking was hard to get yesterday. I had to go to the other lot
Where'd you
yesterday on the other side,
Okay.
lot 2, which is fine. It wasn't that bad. I tell you,
I parked in front of like two cars. She just told me. She goes, She goes, keep going up. I said, what? I'm in front of 2 cars. She goes, oh, they're not leaving anytime soon. Okay. I think it's Miss Sarah that's directing traffic.
I was walking through the players' parking lot, their garage or whatever, and all I could think is this is such an NFL parking lot. That's all I can think of.
Did you name all the cars? Like the
brand,
brands?
yeah. The most popular vehicle in there, probably except for Ford F-150, is the Ram TRX. Like the one with the Hellcat motor in it.
It's actually interesting.
Saw like 4 of them in there. I was like, oh, okay. The TRXs is what everybody's into right now.
More trucks than.
Oh, yeah. Usually most NFL parking lots are usually filled with trucks.
Okay.
Usually
I saw a Lambo. Somebody was
the
coming out of a
Urus. Yeah, it was in there too. But nothing crazy.
I feel like you guys got to go have a play date with all of our friend group, and I was the one that had to stay home and do my homework because I didn't make my bed yet. And I feel like all day I'm just going to be hearing about y'all seeing all of our friends, both on and off the field. Yeah. It's just like, I couldn't. My mom and dad said I couldn't go play. Well, thank you. But
I'll tell you one thing though, Will. When you're out there, like there's so many people, and you've been out there. Yeah. But I'm in such a zeroed in mode because the more and more I've been to camp year after year, the more I'm like, okay, I'm going to find a way that I need to get into a rhythm because there's so much going on that I kind of sometimes got to be by myself because if I don't, I'll get caught up in a conversation missing some of the stuff that I wanted to see. I swear,
I was trying to balance that yesterday because
it's hard.
The last time you and I were out at practice was last year, right before you were about to get hired.
He ignored me, Will.
Well,
I remember.
He ignored me.
I remember.
Now it goes to this part
I was
right
there
here.
too for that one.
At least Will said hi.
Last year I had a credential.
Wait, you don't have a credential?
Well,
what is going on?
I'm in a different role now at the station. I was overseeing all of our digital stuff there, and I was running Zone TV, and I was on Buck's show while Buck was going and doing all of his stuff, like you helped out with yesterday. And I am no longer needed in that role.
Well, we still need to get
today. I was learning. I was trying to read and translate Spanish articles for Deportivo Toluca, Nashville SC this afternoon.
That's a much harder job.
No, not a complaint. Just different role this year.
But real quick though, that happened a little bit yesterday.
I know it did. That's why I didn't come over till the end.
I didn't walk around the where the media was. I went through the building because am I supposed to walk around? So I went through the building. I came out on the far end side, opposite of you guys, and I just got to a point. I met some of the Titans radio officials and stuff like that, and we just sat there, and I was like, well, let me just watch practice because I got to catch up on everything, and I need detail and what I'm seeing and stuff like that. I saw the crowd down. And I was looking for you and Buck and Lucas and everybody. I was like, I hope they don't feel like I'm being anti. But I just need to see practice right now. Yeah. It is a fine line of bloviating with other media likes.
Oh, God.
You love
he
that
knew
word
he was
so much.
He told me he was going to use it.
Why do I give you new words to use?
Right? He's like, Will gave me this word. I'm going to use it.
But instead of just standing around talking, I was like, let me zone in on what I need to be seeing now.
It's tough.
So I wasn't acting antisocial. I was just like, let me see what I'm seeing.
It's hard to miss you, Ramon, and I saw you, but and
then we got together and we broke down some stuff together, did we not? Yeah, it was. We saw some fascinating stuff.
You got to pick the right periods to socialize.
Yes, you do.
Special teams. Yeah. Hey, how are you?
There
how
you
the
go.
Kids?
Boom.
How we doing? Some individual, not really. Routes on air.
Yeah.
Occasionally. Look, these guys got to warm up for 25 minutes. These coddled NFL players,
Yeah.
So catch them in the stretch.
All the soft-ish guys have got to keep their hamstrings in one piece, so we got to watch them stretch.
No, but even with the special team of Stonehouse, I was trying to see if he was going to boom it yesterday and everything.
You're counting your time in the hang time there?
I didn't have my clock. It was in my head, though.
Ask Brett. He'll do it.
You know what it was? 5 too slow, which is a good thing for him.
That
my
is.
Goodness.
It is. It's good hang time.
Good hang time.
And the time that ball's in the air, you could run, 30 yards?
Yes. There you go. That's how we should time it.
That's right.
Let's get him out there and get wrecked doing the timing that way.
We don't judge Ramon Foster's 40 based on time. We judge it based on how many Ryan Stonehouse punts.
Perfect.
You got 0.7 of a Stonehouse punt there, Moan. Good job.
So do I go off the boom of his leg and ball at the start of the line of scrimmage?
Huh?
At the line of scrimmage, though, not where he's kicking it from.
What are you
If
talking?
we're going like 40 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Let me start at the line of scrimmage.
line.
Yeah, where the ball is snapped.
It doesn't really
All
matter.
right, cool.
40 yards.
That might actually be a fun drill
That
right
might
there.
be
that
do
might
it.
be
That
do
might
it
be do
for
it.
real.
Mm-hmm.
At the sound of his punt run. That's how you get a job in the NFL, Will.
Yeah,
5-2-7.
I wouldn't know.
Gunners. Well, which Rabel said they had to sign too. Gunners.
You mean the rapper?
Maybe he's an Arsenal fan too.
He might be an
Just like
Arsenal
us.
fan. No, but AJ, who was it? AJ Moore, they got
Yeah.
signed. He was speaking about him being signed as a gunner. I was like, oh, it makes a whole lot of sense then.
I made a TikTok to Gunna with some of the highlights guys yesterday.
Did you?
Talking about
Yeah, it's
the
pretty
rapper?
cool. Yes.
Oh, okay. Gunner, not a gunner on
Gunna.
the field. Or like our soccer club,
Yeah.
the Gunners.
615-737-1045 Who's your Gunna?
is our number if you want to jump in and call our number. That did not work the way I thought it would.
I actually
I thought
liked
it was good.
This is a white. At 7:20 this morning, Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio joins us. Ben Brown of Pro Football Focus at 8:20. We've got lots of sound for you off the practice field yesterday. Tons of takeaways as the quarterbacks have a good start.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Tannehill, 9 of 10 on the day. Malik Willis completed his first 6 passes before a pair of incompletions, going 6 for 8. Will Levis connecting on all 6 of his pass attempts. And we'll go ahead and tell you before he tells us at 7:20 that we're not going to be instant evaluators like Coach Dave McGinnis often pleads with us not to be. But ultimately, the offense had a good start to the week, I would say is a fair assessment, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very
Definitely.
fair.
I was counting reps because we had this discussion on the show yesterday. So I'm in here in the first drills, counting reps.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Ryan Tannehill gets a majority. Then we've got Malik Willis gets one more than Levis. But then what I realized, what I was seeing between especially Willis and Levis was, they both look really good today.
They did.
You know?
They did. Small technical stuff, you can tell.
Sure.
Day one stuff, first day stuff that have to be cleaned up a little bit. But it was encouraging, both of them. It's small, finite stuff that I thought yesterday that they, as a young pro, they both be pleased with the film. Which, of course, makes this situation even more dicey. And the more competitive it get for those two, right,
Mm-hmm.
Caleb, Will, the better it is for the Titans' future moving forward, too. So good day for both of those young guys.
Also, real quick, Sean McAvoy is Malik Willis's quarterback coach outside of, obviously the Titans camp and room and, facility. And he was there with his 2 kids and watching, and Malik Willis afterward chatting with him as well. Seems that he has had a great impression and worked really well with Malik. They both have a lot of respect for each other. So that was interesting to see him there.
Sean's a good dude. He, I believe, works with a lot of the high school quarterbacks as well in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
wow.
He follows me from a lot of the high school stuff on
that's
Twitter
cool.
that we do. So,
Seems great.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
Coming up, takeaways from the practice field, as specific of play-by-play as we can give you, and what Mike Vrabel had to say about Malik Willis as the offense starts off strong. 2 pass catchers make some big plays, including Chikakonkwo with perhaps the play of the day. We'll describe all that for you coming up. 7:20, Coach Mack. 8:20, Pro Football Focus has been Brown. 615-737-1045 as we take your phone calls and Titans questions all morning long. Hour 1, off and running on your Friday Junior. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 1045 The Zone.
We talk all the time about the diamonds at Genesis Diamonds. That's their specialty. Diamonds are not a side business for Genesis. It's at the core of who they are. That's why Genesis has 30-plus year connections in the industry. It's how they truly cut out layers of middlemen and the markups. It's how Genesis can maintain a diamond selection that's up to 30 times what you find at other stores. This is a diamond powerhouse, whether you're looking for a half-carat or 20-carat diamond. But don't forget, Genesis has case after case of exquisite fashion jewelry as well. They have earrings, bracelets, pendants, bands, colored gemstones, gold jewelry, the list goes on. And Genesis even partnered with all the top designers in the jewelry world. Top designers from New York and California with handcrafted pieces, one-of-a-kind heirloom jewelry also. And on top of all of this, Genesis has one of the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in America. And if you're dreaming of a Rolex, go see the pristine pre-owned models they have in stock right now. Hundreds to pick from, too. Best part about Genesis? The people. Nobody's on commission there. They work in your best interest and they have a passion for making every customer a raving fan. Whatever you need in jewelry, this is hands down the best place to go. Genesis Diamonds, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Continuing your Thursday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is our number. With Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Jackson Williams making the show happen, I'm Will Bowling. So yesterday, guys, we get practice number 1. We mentioned the quarterbacks had a good day. Who else stuck out in a positive way on practice number 1?
Easily the easiest answer is Jeff. It was fascinating to see him do work so early. Whoever's Jeff's practice partners are, prepare yourself every single day. That's the only thing I would tell him, Will, because there is absolutely no playoff, and Jeff has this Energizer Bunny aspect approach to practice. I thought he looked solid. I thought Brewer held his own as much as possible yesterday. And just also Chig, of course. Those are 3 off top that you just say had good days.
Yeah, I think we'll be saying Chig had good days all throughout camp because even if there wasn't a ton of plays, a ton of throws to Chig, because look, let's be honest, DeAndre Hopkins, when he was out there for a chunk of the first half, there were a lot of passes being thrown his way right away from Ryan Tannehill, which is a great sign, by the way. But even if Chig only gets a couple that we see, right, he's going to make a play. Yeah. And he made a play yesterday, which was an incredible catch, which I know we'll talk about in a minute. I thought Kyle Phillips looked good.
He did look good.
He continues to try to make sure that he is building off of what he did in the offseason to get physically ready to hopefully avoid the injuries that derailed his season last year. Because let's remember, guys, he looked fantastic in training camp last year as well.
Yeah, yes.
And so you got to hope that can carry over. I thought just, Arden Key, Rashad Weaver, I saw some good stuff from them. I really like the energy and pressure they're bringing to test the offensive line. I hope that only continues to ramp up. I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah. Those two, Arden Key and Rashad Weaver, they're going to be a problem if they stay healthy and be out there at the same exact time. Like Harold, of course, is going to start in front of one of those two dudes. Probably Rashad, right, as it stands right now. But them two long body guys can wreak havoc if the strength stays there, if their flexibility is good enough, because and if they can play the run the same way they rush up at the quarterback. And Rashad has shown that he can. See it definitely from Arden Key moving forward. But them two together look good.
They look good.
Yeah, it looks good.
They're a problem. And like Big Jeff said after practice, Jeffrey Simmons, he said, look, this is a different type of energy the defense has this year. Whatever energy they had last year was also good, but he says it's just a little different. Yeah. And you can kind of feel it.
You could. Those were the other two I was going to say is Arden Key and Rashad Weaver definitely had good days too. And like you said, just seeing Kyle Phillips move the way he did, and of course Ryan Stonehouse was booming at just as good as anybody could.
And the kickers for their short period of time aced everything.
Yeah, definitely. Operation of the offense seems a little bit more crisp too. It was pretty solid yesterday.
That's always one of the things Mike Vrabel is yelling the most. Operation. Oh,
for real? Well, it looked good yesterday. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. I'm not sure if he was yelling it every 10 seconds, but definitely they moved along with everything.
And there is obviously an acclimation period under a new offensive coordinator, I would imagine, as well.
Yeah.
For knowing where to be and just how quickly you're transitioning from one thing to the next. Not a huge transition considering you promoted from within, but I would imagine that is one of the positives from having someone who's your new OC who has been on staff is much of the operation and the procedure of practice is not going to change for that side of the football.
And having your franchise guy too, and I say that because he's a starter. Ryan Tannehill's your franchise quarterback. So having him be there with also having Tim Kelly in the building, I'm sure the communication. Vrabel gave Ryan Tannehill and a bunch of other guys off-season awards, which means Ryan Tannehill was around the entire offseason too. So
that's a good point. Can I also do an honorable mention? I would like to give some flowers to Christian Fulton. I thought some of the coverage he was on yesterday, including some good pressure on DeAndre Hopkins, kind of on a short pass early on. I thought he looked good physically. His body is totally different.
Yeah,
if you see him, again, a guy who needs to stay healthy.
Yeah.
So the offseason award winners were tight end Thomas Odukoya, Ryan Tannehill, you know what position he plays, offensive lineman Corey Levin, and on defense, Arden Key, Jack Gibbons, and Jaden Peavy. Jack Gibbons, of course, Dr. Gibby, inside linebacker, Jaden Peavy, a defensive lineman. I'll be honest, guys, those awards don't mean a ton to me personally. It's nice, and, Mike Vrabel did mention that Malik Willis was very close.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the audio of what he had to say about Malik Willis yesterday. But last season, the Titans award winners, let's flash back a year.
I know one.
I know where it is.
Dylan Radins, Des Fitzpatrick, and Torrey Carter on offense. And on defense, Amani Hooker, DeMarcus Walker, and Caleb Farley.
DeMarcus Walker and Amani, for the most part,
That's what I'm saying. You got 2 out of 3 on defense.
The rest,
2 out of 3 on defense.
not so much.
Not so much. But to finish up, Tannehill getting it done, I'll say this.
Yeah.
Him being around this entire offseason, he probably talked and had a lot of interaction with Tim Kelly. On day one yesterday, as far as the offense is concerned, for as much as I can say, Tannehill, for the folks that question, okay, what can he do? How much can he do at the line of scrimmage? Where are our audibles? Where's our checks? Where's all of those things? The operation of what we see Peyton Manning do in the past, or Tom Brady checking and audibling. It was on one play yesterday. It looked like Tannehill gave a play, checked it, and then gave an audible on the exact same play. Like, there was a lot going on pre-snap that Ryan Tannehill was allowed to do at the line of scrimmage. Me seeing that for myself, for the folks that say, well, we don't have any checks or audibles or hots and those things. I saw it 3 times on one play yesterday with Ryan Tannehill as far as his command of the offense and how he goes about it. So moving forward, if you're doing that on day one, I expect Tannehill to have more of a grip of what this offense is, especially with his communication with Tim Kelly.
Tannehill, who also was approached by Netflix last season and asked to do quarterback. Yes, and he said, I was highly considering it. Clearly did not do it. Said he hasn't been approached this year for season 2. But I thought that was interesting. He hasn't seen quarterback yet. He was waiting. He said, my wife and I on vacation did not have Wi-Fi, and that was not on purpose. She was losing her mind. But regardless, he said he will try to watch it. But I did think that was interesting. And the more and more I get to know Ryan Tannehill as a player, the more and more I respect him. And I would love to see him kind of in depth, because we still don't know a ton about him in depth and kind of the way he goes about his business and preparing and all that stuff. But he's surely putting in the work.
Yeah.
Yesterday, DeAndre Hopkins practiced for the first time as well. Got involved early, made an early catch on a Ryan Tannehill pass on the sideline. And DeAndre Hopkins made 3 catches, all from Ryan Tannehill. And he had one go behind him, had a mini collision with Christian Fulton after making a short grab, and then left practice just a little bit more than halfway through to catch a flight. Of course, Mike Vrabel said Tuesday that Hopkins would miss a day or two early in camp to take care of some personal business. Buck always makes the joke, and he did with Julio Jones too, that individual drills for those guys are thirst traps, which Emily Proud has said with us of like Joe Milton throws are football Twitter thirst traps. DeAndre Hopkins looks smooth and just makes the individual work and the ladder drills, which Lucas Panzica always makes the jokes of like we always get so obsessed with ladder drills for the first week of camp, and then we never want to see him again. DeAndre makes all that stuff look really easy.
He does. Yeah. I will say we were all surprised when we saw him out there yesterday. Actually, a lot of people were like, are you sure he's out here? Well, no, you could see him. Like, he's out here and going through those individual drills. It is always funny because I actually saw Buck watching practice, and I said, remember when we were doing this about Julio and the ladder and how quick he was moving his feet? And it was just like, we were all like, wow. And then 2 weeks later, he was like, never be found again. But it is always fun to like be like, oh, there's a big name. Let's get him in individual drills, because that's the only time you're going to be able to get him. But yeah, well, he kind of just made everything look super easy, super smooth. Him and Traylon going back to back in drills, so that made it easy to watch too.
It did. I sent that to our chat. The Titans posted the what do you nickname these two? I was just
I know.
do we do that or just let
thought it was
it
kinda
grow
funny.
into itself? You know,
Here we go.
We'll
You're
let
gonna
it.
make me do this soapbox now already?
No, I'm shutting it down too. I'm
I put
say
an idea in
let
there.
the butterfly spread their wings, okay?
You got to have
we gonna do
5 games totally healthy.
There we go.
Yeah.
Both of them.
There we go.
Where they're
Yep.
catching, if they don't have a touchdown in those 5 games, null and void. The Titans are just doing their job. Look,
I know they
Titans social media is doing their job. The rest of us, I will not allow it. Do not give nicknames or print T-shirts about someone that hasn't played a snap yet. This is as simple as it gets. Anyway, Hop and the Hog is what I had. DeAndre Hopkins and Traylon Burks as the former Arkansas Razorback. Hop and Hog.
Hop and hog.
That's not bad. That's
Anyway,
not bad.
so call me in week 6. Call me in London. London will be calling if they're both healthy and both of them have a touchdown catch. We're not doing this again where we're doing Julio chance, and we have to wait until week 18 for him to catch a freaking touchdown, even though he did in Seattle. Oh my gosh. I just
There it is.
triggered.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
It's too soon to do that. I do love, though, getting people's thoughts on. I love when they stand by each other and then it's like, okay, guesses on how many yards and catches, just because it is kind of a storyline that you want to pump up. But we got to pump our brakes, I guess.
No doubt. We do. And that's all it was. But seeing him out there yesterday, I will say this offensively, after he left, this is just my observations. After he left and I saw the crew out there, solid crew still, okay, as far as the wide receivers go. But the presence of D-Hop beforehand and after he left, I was just like, okay, I see what a prime wide receiver can do with his experience, even at his age. Sometimes knowing the boogeyman is around is just enough. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm hoping for this offense D-Hop kind of turns into, and also Traylon, and also Josh Wiley, and also just all the guys on the offensive side of the ball when it comes down to wide receiver, NWI. Because when you have this type of player that's still capable, that's still willing, and still has some fire about him, with the youth behind him, right? You got to kind of say to yourself, all right, we're much better just on the look. And that's what I got from it yesterday.
Right. Well,
not to say that those guys aren't capable, but just knowing that we got a guy on our side that's going to, like I said, be the boogeyman to other defensive coordinators, like game plan. There's value in that too.
But it's not even just the offensive guys; it's the defensive guys who are going up against him.
Yes,
that to me is that's a challenge amongst itself. Christian Fulton, Sean Murphy Bunting, who was lining up with him at certain points yesterday. I think that also just favors the offense in terms of their toughness, especially the secondary who needs to improve.
Definitely,
Kayla. With last year.
And it's no diss whatsoever to the group that was there after him, but the addition of DeAndre elevates it a little bit more. I mean, we knew the same thing when we had our star players with us or without us. They're going to attack us different because so-and-so is missing a game this week. Those types of things matter in football where you have so much of a lead up for one game of a week that all hands on deck, all the star power you possibly can have. And if DeAndre, to Will's point, stays healthy, is productive, make touchdowns, and move the chains, this offense is in a way better situation than it was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel commented on Malik Willis being in a much better position than he was this time last year. Here were the very positive comments from the head coach on a guy who's in the middle of a quarterback battle right now. In a moment.
Well, I think when you coach players and they ask for feedback, and again, I really, you can learn a lot from great coaches, and for me to not think that Nick Saban isn't one of the best coaches that ever wore a whistle is ridiculous. And so he says something all the time that really average players want to be left alone, and good players want to be coached, and great players want to be told the truth. And I think it's man, if we can just live in that world where everybody just, hey, what was this? What is this? What else do I need? What do I need to do to improve? Where do I stand? And they can seek the truth. They can handle the truth. And then, we always want to tell the truth. And so that's what we did the entire offseason. We'll continue to do that. And Malik took those things and just his appearance, his attitude, smiling, and just playing football. So, and again, playing quarterback in this league as a young player is something very different. And so I think that experience at offseason has helped him, and then we'll continue to work with him and improve.
So that's Mike Vrabel yesterday at the podium after training camp practice number 1, talking about Malik Willis. And guys, there's never been any doubt about Malik's work ethic and his personality being a good one to be successful in the NFL. And that being said, of course, there are a lot of nice people that we all know who are not qualified to play quarterback in the National Football League. So this is not something that automatically makes him a franchise quarterback in the league. The willingness to work. There are a lot of dudes that have the willingness to work. I would be willing to work as a NFL defensive lineman, but I'm never going to be an NFL defensive lineman. But that being said, it is good to see that Malik continues to work with the coaching staff and take coaching points and improve after an end of the season that he could have kind of shut down after.
Yeah.
And getting replaced by a guy after a really bad start at home. You lose to a really bad team in Houston, and you're told, hey, you're getting benched for a guy who's been here for less than a week. Malik Willis could have taken that really hard and shut down with this team and, seen that, hey, my time here might be up already. It seems that's not the case. Certainly, at least not at this point of his career.
Yeah, I loved that comment by Mike Vrabel. I know we had to use Nick Saban in there, but real quick,
I loved it, Kayla.
Yeah, no, I thought it was right on. But I will say this: you're right, Will. He could have gotten frustrated after all the stuff from last year and even this year drafting Will Levis. Instead, I think Will Levis and him become actually pretty good friends. He's put in the time outside of the facility with his quarterback coach. It's going to be a battle, and it's one of the most intriguing backup battles, like I mentioned yesterday. I really, truly do feel like in the NFL right now.
Oh, it is for sure. Great quote by I wrote that down from Brave. I know he took it from Saban, but that was solid. That's a hard thing for a pro, especially be humbled that soon as a young rook as Malik was, and also Levis going to deal with it too. But specifically Malik, because everybody's usually talking about what is he going to do. Heck, we were yesterday, right? But good on him for taking it on the chin and just understanding, look, my weaknesses are what they are, and the only way to survive in this league is to know the truth and work at it.
Coming up, what Jeffrey Simmons had to say off the practice field as he had, the same Jeffrey Simmons level energy as always, including trash talking his teammates, which, the sky's still blue. Coming up next on Ramon, Caitlin, and Will. Wrapping up Hour 1 on your Friday, Junior. It's RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. And in Hour 2, Coach Dave McGinnis joins us, and we hear from what Kevin Byard had to say at the podium after training camp practice number 1 when it comes to his restructured contract. But, guys, Jeffrey Simmons spoke after practice, and from what you guys have told me and from every report that you see at Tennessee Titans training camp, if there is one thing you can count on, it is Jeffrey Simmons winning a rep and then letting the offensive lineman he beat know about it right after he does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple as that.
That man had a family, okay? That's all I can
That
say.
man had a family.
It's day one, Will.
The man should be remain nameless.
It definitely needs to be nameless because I will not drop it because it's day one, okay? But I saw Jeff do something yesterday. I was just like, golly, that's a world of pain. That's all I can think is just Jeff is just Jeff. And even Jim Wyatt put it in his observations, what Jeffrey said. We can't say it on air, but he basically said this is too easy.
Yeah.
And you know what?
This stuff is too easy.
This stuff is too easy is what he said. And then not in those terms because he's passionate about what he does, okay? But it's fascinating to watch him. I'd say this. If you are one of those lottery winners that get an opportunity to see the Titans practice, you will want to have your eyes fixated on the O-line, D-line. It was good to see. Jeff is not fat and happy when it comes down to him getting that contract.
Nope.
The motivation is still there. Again, we did in the scout meeting yesterday, and I'm going to pass the ball to Kayla on this one, but a defense that has a heartbeat of Jeffrey Simmons with leadership of Kevin Byard, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, and new additions, like even we had mentioned earlier with Arden Key, that's another added level of energy that meshes well with Big Jeff.
Yeah.
I think they're always, in terms of the defense, trying to take it to another level, which we'll hear in a minute. But I even think Jeff now being healthy, thinking about what he went through last year with the bad ankle and shooting it up during games.
Yeah.
And he was still going out there when he could and giving it his all. But now just feeling good to start camp and bringing that also to the field, that's great to see too, just to know he's healthy.
No doubt. I saw him set up what we all saw. He lifted a man off his feet yesterday is what happened. I saw the whole setup. And forklifted a man and just continued to just roll past. And I was just like, I saw the setup. And I actually went home and told my son about what not to do. I did. I was like, Miles, you can't have your hands wide. Now, everybody gets guys. Sometimes you get the bear and the bear gets you. You know how it goes in this game, right? But I was just impressed to see him actually do that effortlessly, Will.
It's Big Jeff energy is what I call it.
Kind of was.
It's Big Jeff energy.
It was.
And this was Big Jeff after a big first practice yesterday, meeting with the media, discussing a number of topics.
You see guys like Harold, Arden out there together. It's exciting, especially on the defensive side. The energy that we having today. Hopefully that's to keep carrying on because that's what we're about. Energy flying around and coming together as one. So it's great to be out there.
What does 58's presence have out here when he's back out?
Harold means a lot to the team. I respect him as a player, as a man, and just to have him back out here with me, coming off that edge. Him and Taco can't just sit in there with his speed coming off the edge. So, like I said, it's exciting just to have him back out here. Getting ready for this upcoming season. Trying to get that groove back. And I know with him, everything is just about mental. So, it's my job as his teammate to help build that confidence back. I came off ACL, so I kind of know how that feels. So, like I said, it just feels great to have his presence out here. I'm happy to have him back.
How important is this ramp-up period for you guys before the rubber meets the road and you get the pads on?
Yeah, I think it's important just for, the game of football. But I just feel like we here. This camp, it's football. I don't think we had this ramp-up period going through college and all that. So I feel like, it's something we do. We've been doing it in the NFL. So, we just bought in. We're going to buy into it. And whenever the pads come on, nothing changes. Just a little more physicality.
Yeah.
There's Jeffrey Simmons. When the pads come on, nothing changes, just a little more physicality.
I also like how he mentioned just having Harold's presence out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. And Kevin Byard shouted out before, they took the field like, welcome back, Harold.
Yeah.
People are excited to have him back. His teammates are excited to have him back. And I did think that was also good to hear Jeff say, I'm there for anything in terms of, just the mental side of things with Harold getting back from that ACL, because Big Jeff coming in his rookie season had that.
Yep.
And he was able to come in at the end of the season, but he was done. He didn't play that first season as a rookie. So he can kind of share some of those things with Harold too, and getting back that confidence, which I thought was really cool to hear him say.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I saw a clip of Harold doing some drills. And you can tell, the ground is still settling under him. He finished his run and he looked down. I felt like he was looking down at his legs a little bit just to see, okay, everything's intact the way it should be. I never had the ACL. I couldn't imagine how that recovery is. It can't be easy to go through and get back to what you're doing. But he did look good in his burst, though, as far as Harold Landry goes.
And no brace.
Yes.
Which is noteworthy.
Yeah.
That matters.
That's a good point.
Does, for sure.
That matters a lot.
No contact yet,
Yep.
so we'll see if that changes. But for right now, no brace. It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up, Kevin Byard gives more clarity on his restructured contract. And if you've got a Titans question or proclamation after practice number 1, we've got time for you at 615-737-1045. Hear from the mayor of Murfreesboro coming up next. Coach Mack at 7:20. Lots of Titans discussion on a Friday Junior. It's Ramon, Kalen, and Will at 104.5 The Zone. 7 o'clock on the dot. Good morning. I'm Will Bowling. Yesterday, the Titans had their first training camp practice of 2023. DeAndre Hopkins was there, making his debut in a Titans practice jersey. He left to catch a flight midway through practice. The team will not be on the practice field today. Their next practice is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Elsewhere in the NFL, Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers, that's still taking some getting used to, has signed a reworked contract in which he voluntarily reduced his salary by about $35 million over the next 2 seasons. The 39-year-old signed a 2-year, $75 million contract that is fully guaranteed. He was due to make close to $110 million in guarantees on his previous deal. And the Big 12's presidents and chancellors voted unanimously on a conference call to accept Colorado as a new member last night, according to a report on ESPN.com. A Colorado departure from the Pac-12 would come after the 2023-2024 season, coinciding with the end of the Pac-12 television deal, meaning Colorado would not have to pay an exit fee to the league. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Welcome to your Thursday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all 4 Seasons Garage Doors. We've got Ramon Foster.
Yay.
We've got Kayla Anderson. Jackson Williams is our producer. I'm Will Bowling, and we have got some juicy Breaking Titans news.
Breaking Titans news on 104.5 The Zone.
The Tennessee Titans in 2023 will wear the Oilers jerseys for 2 games.
Hey.
Game 1 on October the 29th, when Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons come to town.
Nice.
The Titans will wear Oilers throwbacks. And on December the 17th, against the Houston Texans, the Tennessee Titans officially will be decked out in Love Ya Blue Oilers uniforms. That is official.
Nice.
From @Titans on social media. Houston, you've got a big problem.
Oof, they're going to be mad.
Oh
They're
my
going to be
God.
mad. And guess what? They don't care, including Kevin Byard. He doesn't care.
Yeah. Miss Amy, I didn't know your style. I didn't know you guys.
Yeah, we knew Amy had. Amy's not just a Miss Amy. Like,
Yeah.
Amy is, like Rhett's told us, like, Amy knows how to deal with some business.
I didn't know your style. I didn't know you dabbled in petty the way we do. That one right there just kind of hits home a little bit more, does it not? This is like, oh, we'll go against Houston on this one. Can you imagine how many Houstonians will actually come up and celebrate that too, though?
Oh, they're not going to be celebrating much of anything.
It'd be a small sector. You
I
know?
don't think so.
It won't at all.
They are not happy, and I love it.
Not yes, hell yes.
Absolutely right.
That was good. Versus the Houston Texans, too. You kind of called it was going to happen, or you wished that it would happen against
I was
them?
wishing it was going to happen since last year when it became public that this was going to happen in 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Titans, the gift that just keeps on giving to Houston.
Man, you know what? Took your teammate, you get another one, and it's all right. It's all right, baby. That's awesome, though, man. Those jerseys do look good.
They are so sick.
Did you see the extended FaceTime surprises yesterday video from the
No.
Titans? Oh, it's
Yes.
so good.
Really good.
It's good, Kayla. You
I'll
got
have
to see
to
that
check.
one on
I was
break.
kind of busy yesterday, but yeah, I'll check it out.
You got to see that
Check
one.
it
It was
out.
authentically good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel, Eddie George. Who else was in it? Amani Hooker.
Amani Hooker.
Okay.
Chaka Conquo,
Chigs.
and Amy Adams-Strunk was in it.
Yeah, she
Oh, was
was.
she?
Yeah.
Amy Adams
Cool.
Strunk was
I'll
in
have
it
to go
too.
look.
What's Chig's reaction is hilarious. That guy is an entertainment.
He's so great.
He ain't even trying to, though. It'd be different
No.
if he was trying to like get out there with this type of stuff.
No,
He's
yeah.
just naturally an entertainer,
Well,
man.
his smile does it all too, though. That gives
true.
like 20% more energy. Just when he smiles, he's got like this contagious smile.
If you ever wonder why I love Ola Adeni,
Yeah.
this is
Ola's
why.
the
He
same
act
way.
like him and Ola are the
Very similar.
exact same type of people, man, which is awesome. Good people. And that's why I always rooted for Ola. And that's why it's easy right now to root for
By
Chid.
the way, is he on a team?
Not yet. He's
Okay.
still working out,
checking.
though. Yep.
Jim Wyatt writing on TennesseeTitans.com. The headline posted 9 minutes ago. Titans to wear Oilers throwback uniforms versus Atlanta and Houston, and former Oilers are thrilled about it. I love that.
That's hilarious.
I love that. Absolutely.
That part of the quote is the best part. And he's got some quotes from former Oilers in here. Warren Moon quoted as saying, "It's been a long time coming. I've been talking to Amy about this for 2 years now, and she's been wanting to do this for a long time. And I'm glad it is going to happen. I would love to see them wear those Oilers both times against the Texans. Once in Houston, so the Houston fans can see it. And, of course, in Tennessee, so the fans there can see the uniforms." That is a direct quote from a Hall of Fame quarterback, Warren Moon.
That's good.
Whew. He says
Wow.
to Jim Wyatt, "I know this is a very sensitive subject in Houston, but the city of Houston had a chance to get the rights a number of years ago. The Texans never really reached out to any of the former Oilers and never made it feel like they wanted to do anything with the Oilers. They wanted to just create their own identity." Warren Moon goes on to say on TennesseeTitans.com, "Since Amy has taken over, she has really had a passion for the Houston Oilers. She wanted to bring everybody into one family, Oilers and Titans. And that's why she's had these alumni weekends and been doing that for the last 5 years."
Yeah, makes sense.
That's awesome.
That is.
Hearing Warren Moon embrace the Tennessee Titans to that level and give Amy Adams-Strunk maybe the highest possible endorsement that you can give her on someone that cares about the history of this organization while also recognizing that there are opportunities to do some pretty cool things in the present and in the future. That's awesome.
That is.
There's also going to be a lot of jealous, lots of former Titans on the Atlanta side, including Arthur Smith, who are going to be looking at those jerseys too when they play Atlanta,
Yeah.
the home of the ex-Titans, and being like, "Oh, those look nice."
That will play a part in how I think Atlanta decides to play, and also Houston too. Don't use our game as a stance type of game that you want. Don't use us as a theme. So it's going to be fascinating to see how Arthur does come in like that. I knew when we wore like color rush, or anybody wear color rush against a specific opponent, you don't want to be the one in their story. You don't want to be, the ones on the back end of their story. And I'm fascinated to see how that is going to play, though. But for Miss Amy to be as savage as she is about her comments, no, not even that, just truthful in what she's saying about how she feels between the two cities and the history between both, and have Warren Moon in this, man, is a bridging of gaps. And if Houston folks could get on, on the same level as you with this, it'd be a whole lot easier. It wouldn't be made a mockery of. And I'm just glad she's embracing what it is.
Lonzo in the FNN Bank chat says the Houston game is here. Yes, December 17th, the Houston Texans are in Nashville. And they will be playing against the Houston Oilers, which is going to look really cool. Hall of Famer Robert Brazil also quoted in this piece by Jim Wyatt on Tennessee.com, who says, "I was in tears when I saw these uniforms because I was so excited." Says, "My wife heard me and woke up and said, 'Robert, is everything okay?' And I said, 'Brenda, it's finally going to happen. My colors, my love you blue, it's coming alive again.' And it makes me and it makes everybody that played with the Oilers know we are not dead, we're alive. The Oilers are alive."
Wow.
Oh, that's
Hall
cool.
of Famer Robert Brazil.
That's great. He was crying. I mean, brought him to tears.
Wow.
So Falcons, October 29th. That is Oilers-Titans Alumni Weekend, which is that tradition we spoke about that Amy Adams-Strunk has started as the controlling owner of the Tennessee Titans. And Jim Wyatt also adds, while there's still an outside chance the team could have an opportunity to wear them once on the road, the games against the Falcons and Texans are now confirmed.
Nice. They can still, they may be able to wear it on the road too, because the white color is the away team. So it should be good to go on that one then, or the lighter color.
One other cool quote from Robert Brazil in this. He says, "I'm going to make this as plain and simple as I can for anyone who has any doubts about this. The Oilers are Titans history, not Texans history. Look at the Titans Ring of Honor and how many Oilers are in there. 10 is the answer." Paraphrasing that part, he says, it's a good number, parentheses 10. How many Oilers are in the Texans Ring of Honor? The answer is 0.
Yeah. It makes sense.
What does he say at the end of that too? I was born an Oiler, and I'm going to die a Titan.
There you go. I like it. I like it too because it's as much as that happened in the past, the present players, the Titans players, understand the importance of the history of this franchise and embrace it. Yes, it's a cool jersey, right? It looks good. But I think because of how Amy has dealt with bringing in these past players the last couple of years and having them kind of get to know some of these current players, I think it's all like one big, happy family in a way because they understand the history. It's not just the Titans, right?
Yeah.
I think that's important, and I think Amy's done a great job of continuing to make that a stronger bond.
And if you're those guys too, that Brazil, that played in Warren Moon, that played in the air, like there is a part of their team that's gone though too. Like the representation of their team is gone if it wasn't for Miss Amy and her father and everybody embracing the Oilers being here. That's what's so significant about it, because you look at a team just like the St. Louis Rams. Well, they still technically have their team in a different state. Like the name changed and everything when this team became the Titans. So to be a guy that doesn't have, his home stadium specifically, meaning the Oilers name, but to be embraced by the Titans, what you are, I think that's super unique. And guys want that because you give so much to the game. Blood, sweat, and tears, Kayla. Like your kids are raised in this lifestyle. And, there's a bunch of memories and relationships that go into it. And to have it just gone because you move cities and change names a little bit. No, embrace me the same way as you do the guys that came in since 1999 here,
Absolutely. And Kevin Byer, just to let y'all know, he did say he does think Mike Vrabel should wear the Bud Adams cowboy hat. That was approved by Kevin Byer.
It was.
Yes, it was.
I'll take it.
Bum Phillips cowboy hat.
Sorry, Bum Phillips.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oof. I love to see Verbal dress up like that.
That would be something.
Can we go to jeans and like sports jackets on the sideline?
That's like a 10-gallon hat.
You mean the
That's not,
Canadian tuxedo?
That ain't your mama's cowboy hat. No,
Yeah.
that's a heifer of a cowboy hat.
Can we may be able to ask for that just a little bit? Jeans and sports jacket with a 10-gallon?
Like a couple years ago when the flyover over Nissan Stadium was too close and you felt like it was going to scrape the sky, the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
They would have to not have a flyover before that game because the hat would be so tall.
Yeah.
It would literally, there'd be a flyover, and Vrabel's like, hold on, let me take my hat off real
Right.
quick. All right, and we're good. All right.
I'll tell
Play
you
ball.
one thing, though, Will. He sure has the neck for it. He don't need to do no neck exercises.
I can't say I've ever observed someone else's neck. I can't say
do.
that's the thing that I've done.
I'm be real.
So I will take your word for it.
They got a thick neck.
You all are much more observant than I. Coming up, Coach Dave McGinnis, he's observant about all things you need to know on the Titans practice field, and we will get the reaction from him on the news that breaks 15 minutes ago. Titans are wearing Houston Oilers throwbacks against the Houston Texans. Amy Adams drunk, choosing a lot of violence on a Thursday morning. Coach Mac next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
It's Ramon Foster from My PhD Weight Loss. You guys know you've heard me talk about this for a while, and it's for good reasons, though, too, because losing weight kind of helps out a lot of other things, too, if done correctly. Blood pressure is one of those things. Other serious health issues that can come up, like diabetes, just inflammation, just a lot of issues that can come with having an excess of weight on you. But I'm here to tell you, if you get into the plan with My PhD Weight Loss, you can drop those pounds to get to a healthier healthier version of you, feel better about yourself, sleep better, inflammation is down, just movements and energy. I'm telling you, I promise you it works. These are the things that I have personally experienced in my walk down of these LBs, pounds, if you will, when it comes to my journey. On average, most male clients lose between 3 to 5 pounds a week if done correctly, and if female clients lose between 2 to 3 pounds a week. They have a plan specifically for you. I'll speak to my coach, Rachel, today. That's been my coach for a while. She's good. We understand each other. She understands my plan and what she wants from me in the end. This is something that you've been thinking about. I said, summertime fine happens in the winter, but guess what? We're in the summer right now. You can still get right for the fall before the tailgating kicks off. Visit My PhD Weight Loss and do the right thing and get on the right track when it comes to you feeling better about yourself and being a better you. Again, myphdweightloss.com.
Thursdays at 7:20, one of the highlights of the week, because it means Titans Radio's head coach joins us here on RKW. He's Ramon Foster. That's Kayla Anderson. Jackson Williams is our producer, and I'm Will Bowling. Coach Tate McGinnis joins us now on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Coach Mac, how we living on a Thursday morning?
Well, Kayla, Ramon, doing good. Football started, in case y'all hadn't noticed.
It has. I think, Coach Mack, I can skip my extra cup of coffee this morning, and there's just one reason why. The Titans have made it official that they will wear the Oilers throwbacks on October 29th against the Falcons and December 17th officially now against the Houston Texans. That is going to be between Alumni Weekend, October 29th against the Falcons, and then wearing the Oilers jerseys against the Houston NFL franchise. Going to be a wild time in Nissan Stadium. I can't wait.
Yeah, I normally save this for, some calls that I really get excited about during the game, but I think this deserves it. That's a big hell yes.
It is, yes. Coach Mack. Yes, it is, Coach.
I mean, I go way back with the Oilers. When I signed a scholarship at TCU in 1969, there was a camp in the Hill Country, a summer camp that they used to hire Southwest Conference football players, and they hired me that summer after I had signed with TCU. And there was guys there from A&M and Texas and Baylor. And anyway, they took us to the Oilers training camp. They had training camp in Kerrville, Texas, at Shriner Military Institute, and I mean, it was like wow. And when you grow up down there, I mean, that's when Pete Beathard was their quarterback. They had Don Truel, their quarterback at that camp, who's a great Baylor quarterback. So a guy named Charlie Toller. If you really want to know about Houston Oilers history, look up Charlie Toller. He had just retired, and he was a running back that was, really, I mean, he's a 5'5", 210-pound running back that was a dude, man. And they had a running back, Hoyle Granger. There's so many really good players. Elvin Bethea was on that football team. Charlie Joyner was a receiver on that football team. When you start, I mean, I just remember just watching these guys. Roy Girella was the kicker for that football. Kenny Houston, one of the all-time great safeties in the National Football League. Miller Farr was on that team. And I just remember, being a really young guy just out of high school and getting ready to go to the Southwest Conference, I thought, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. And so the Love You Blue jerseys and uniforms, they are so sweet anyway. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that weekend. Plus that weekend that Amy Adams Strunk, when she hosts all the Oilers that comes back, it's really cool, guys. It is a big deal. I went to the event that Amy Adams Strunk. She had a memorial service for Bob Hyde, long, 40-year employee of the Oilers / Titans, and he was their PR director for a long time. There was about 10 of those guys that came back this summer for that thing. Pastorini spoke at it. Amy Adams Strunk has melded these two franchises together. They're the same franchise. Yep. She just brought them back together. It's outstanding.
And Coach Mack, it's great because Robert Brazil, Dr. Doom, who one of those other legendary Oilers from 75 to 84, is quoted in this article by Jim Wyatt at TennesseeTitans.com saying, look at the Titans Ring of Honor and how many Oilers are in there. You got a good number, 10. How many are in the Texans Ring of Honor? 0. Pretty much tells you all you need to know, doesn't it?
You guys ever been around Dr. Doom when he's been back up here?
I haven't.
No.
Well, let me tell you something. When he says something, you better believe it. That guy was a dude back in the day, legitimate dude, still is.
No doubt, Coach. Speaking of dudes, man, we had opportunity to view practice a little bit yesterday, and one of those guys that should have a nickname like Dr. Doom is Big Jeff. How exciting is it, man, to have a guy like him lead the charge for your team?
You know what's exciting, Ramon, is to see him on two legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that's what's exciting because people really, you guys know because you're close to it, but, people just don't really understand what he went through last year and continued to play because he saw everybody else falling around him.
and knew that, to even have a smell of a chance, he needed to be out there. To watch him now as to the way that he can move and the stuff that he's doing, I mean, it just makes you happy to see. But look, this is a guy that came into the league. Let's remember back to what he overcame coming into the league, because with the ACL that he suffered, before the combine started, and then the Titans, and Amy Adams Strunk and Mike Vrabel. I mean, they took a chance on him. And the thing that you can hear when you listen, if you really listen to Big Jeff talk, whenever he talks about that time and the chance and the promise that he made to Amy Adams Strunk, that he would not let her down ever. I mean, that means something, and he's carrying through with all of that. I mean, I like watching he and I watch Harold Landry both be out there on two good legs for the first day. That made me really feel good.
Definitely, Coach. And this is another fascinating thing about camp, too. There's so many storylines that are out after just one day, but one in particular I thought was really good. Vrabel, mentioned the idea that A.J. Moore, of course, we love him as a safety, but the idea that you need a gunner, on your special teams. That's a guy that gets down the field first, that kind of redirects the guy fielding the ball on punts, and that's because you have a very unique guy like Ryan Stonehouse. It's fascinating to see how coaches put together a roster, Coach Mash, to say, you know what, we know this guy, A.J. Moore, and I know what he can do for us on special teams. Forget what his primary position is.
Well, the gunners, it's a very intricate position because, first of all, if you're a good gunner, you're going to have to defeat double teams out there. I mean, that's one of the most physical aspects of the game when you really watch it. Now, what goes on the offensive and defensive line is every down. But that out there, when for those 4 or 5 seconds, if that's going on out there, a gunner against two guys trying to jam them and hold them up, it gets pretty violent. And if you're going to have good net punts, you need gunners that can defeat double teams. And so when you find someone like that, it's extremely, extremely important to your football team. And here's what the gunners also, allow you to do. If you've got a guy that can beat double teams, and you can directional punt, because now, depending on which guy to decide to single, then your punter, can sit back there and can angle kick that thing towards the single, gunner side. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. But until you have a guy that can defeat a double team as a gunner, you can't do a lot of that stuff.
Coach, we were speaking earlier about just having DeAndre out there, and we got to see him for half of practice yesterday. Having him on that offense and just even not only challenging the wide receiver room, everybody wants to step it up a bit, but how beneficial to have a guy like that now to challenge this secondary as well. I mean, they're going to take it upon themselves to take their game up another level.
Yeah, Kayla, you're right. I mean, it's going to make for a lot of good, it's going to make for a lot of good competition. And also, look, if you work against good, it can only help you get good. Yeah. And so that's going to help a lot. But I mean, he brings so much, and that's why, the whole time that this was going on, of course, what Coach Mack said and is always going to say with stuff like this, you got to keep your powder dry and let it filter out. Mm-hmm. And once they got it done, and Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon got him signed, I mean, it's a big boost to the team for a lot of different reasons. But the practical aspect of it, now you're going to be able to do some things with some receivers that now will be able to be mixed and matched and try to play to their strengths and use him in a lot of ways. And the thing that you just bring up about the competition during practice, yes. I mean, DBs, and let me tell you something. If DBs want to get good, they should be fighting to get up there to cover him one-on-one, because regardless of whether the DB wins or not, he's honing his craft against one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to this defensive line, and we talked about Big Jeff a second ago, bringing a whole nother energy. We've mentioned Arden Key. You see that out there with kind of what he brings, right? And then I've been impressed with kind of what Rashad Weaver has done in the offseason to really take it upon himself to try to take his game to the next level this year. I really feel like, Coach, they have really upped their game with some of these outside linebackers in the defensive front this year.
Well, you know what Rashad has done, to your point, Kayla, he's taken his body to another level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has worked the iron, this offseason, which was extremely important. He's always been a speed to power effort guy, but to be able to be a speed to power guy, that takes a lot of energy, and the stronger that you can get and the more explosive you can get in your lowers when you're a speed to power guy. I mean, Ramon can sit and talk to you about that all the time. You need that initial shock and that initial push, and not just one time. You need to be able to do it time after time again to be able to wear that offensive lineman down that you're going against. I've been impressed with that. I've always been impressed with his motor. I mean, he's a guy that's always been a high effort guy, but he put the iron work in this off season to accentuate that. So I'm excited to watch him play. He's always, and since he's shown up here, he's been a nice rotational piece in there.
Yep.
Now he may be able to be a little more than that because he's physically stronger.
Coach Mack, I feel like you're bragging a little bit when it talks about speed to power through offensive lineman's chest right there. Now, I never seen you choose a side, but you sounded real excited about defensive lineman speed to power on offensive lineman right there, Coach.
Ramon, I love offensive linemen. I've always loved offensive linemen. Any good team I've ever been on has had an awesome offensive line. I mean, look, the flash and bang of the game right now, the way that it is, and as wide open as it is. Still remember this, and I hope people are listening because I know they listen to this radio station a lot. That's why I love it. It's still a big man's game, and don't ever forget.
Okay, Coach Matt. I was just looking for a little comfort right there. That's all that was, Coach Matt.
Sound like a spoiled quarterback. Coach Dave McGinnis, our guest this morning here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Coach Mack, Mike Vrabel says yesterday that Jalen Duncan still has no idea how good he could be as he makes his training camp debut for his rookie season in a Titans uniform. What are some of those skills he possesses that you can't really teach that Mike Vrabel is trying to hone here?
Big man with feet can move. I mean, God didn't invent a whole lot of them. They just didn't. I go back to that, and I've told you guys this many a time. Our listeners have heard this. When Joe Green and I would go for the 8 years that he was my defensive line coach, and we'd go across the country looking for defensive linemen, it was that, Coach Mack, we find a bear standing on two legs that can move. We got to bring him back. And so that's the same thing. Big men that can move their feet, it's a prized commodity. He can move his feet. Big man that's got movement, now he needs to be able to put it all together from the top down. But, he stood – you guys were at the Senior Bowl. You guys watched every practice down there. Yeah. And, this was a good offensive line group, that Jim Nagy put together at the Senior Bowl this year. Mm-hmm. But during just watching those guys down there work together, if you didn't, know, even whether you were foot or horseback watching the offensive line drills, you could see a big man down there that could move his feet. That's where it starts.
Coach Mack, how much of a pro is Kevin Byard? Thought his answer was outstanding yesterday about restructuring his deal and said, look, I wouldn't have done this if I didn't think we had a chance to win a lot of ball games. He's a rare kind of guy, isn't he?
Well, I've been involved with 8 Hall of Famers in my career, and just take away the football playing ability, but the grasp of everything that it takes to be great. Kevin Byard's a pro. That's the highest compliment I can. The highest compliment I can pay a coach is to say he's a ball coach. The highest compliment I can pay a player, he's a pro. Kevin Byard, pro through and through.
Yes, indeed, Coach Mack. And the way we'll see everything ramp up a little bit more, too, moving forward throughout training camp, Coach Mack, I can't wait to see these linebacker, Azeez Al-Shaair, and also Money Rice get a little action, too, because there's a couple positions on the field where you can't really highlight a whole lot. And watching those two guys right there, Coach Mack, should be, must-see TV this fall.
Well, and they're going to be very dependent on what goes on in front of them.
Yeah.
That's going to be key. The key when this defense of this iteration of the Titans has been good defensively, and I mean really good defensively, they've been able to put legitimate timing pressure on the quarterback with 4 people, and so that's what's got to happen. And when that is happening, then your people can deal back behind that line. Ramon, we were together at the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame when Keith Bullock went into the Hall of Fame, and he will be one of the first to tell you that for 6 years I coached Keith, but I was coaching Keith and my linebackers here behind a group of 4 guys that could put heat consistently. And that makes a huge, huge difference in the life of a linebacker behind the line. I first started this thing out. Mike Singletary's the first ballot Hall of Famer. He's the first to tell you that it's because of Richard Dent and Dan Hampton and Steve McMichael and William Perry up in front. Because when you can cover and you can play with 7 on the back end and the 4 up front can handle the rest, it goes a long way to helping you be an elite defense.
Coach Mack, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will every Thursday here at 7:20. Coach Mack, it's always good to talk to you. It's especially good to talk about real football that happened in the last 24 hours. We made it. We appreciate the time as always.
I'm on my way up to the facility right now, guys. I will see you a lot.
Yes, sir,
We
Coach
will.
Mack. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Coach.
See ya.
All right, there he is. Coach Dave McGinnis with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. The highest praise he can give a player, saying Kevin Byard is a dude, is a pro.
That's so true.
Yep.
I said it yesterday during Ron's show. I was in the comments a little bit. I was like, man, don't take Byard for granted. He didn't have to take a pay. He could have just said, man, forget y'all and y'all going to have to cut me or something like that. For him to, take money off his plate, I thought is very unique and should be highlighted.
Coming up, hear from Kevin Byard as he discusses why he restructured his contract. You can hear the exact quote at the podium from St. Thomas Sports Park yesterday of the guy who gets some pretty high praise from Coach Dave McGinnis this morning. That's next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
It's Ramon Foster here to tell you about Zen Sports, the new sports betting app in Tennessee, revolutionizing sports betting rewards. Yes, rewards. So what if I told you are wasting your time and money betting on any sports book that's not Zen Sports? Zen Sports offer real cash rewards to those who are lucky enough to be in Tennessee, and that means no funny money, points, or credits. For a welcome bonus, earn 5% cash back on every bet you place for the first 15 days on Zen Sports, with no limit on your bonus when you use a referral bonus code, and earn up to 3% cash back on your bets after that with Zen Sports Loyalty Program. Just log right on into it, okay? So make the switch today and start betting on Zen Sport. Your wallet will thank you later. Gambling problem also? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 20 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
Thursday morning continues on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. As we wrap up the first half of the show, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you on the phones at 615-737-1045. Coach Mack says that the biggest and highest praise he can give an NFL player is by calling. That's what he said about Kevin Byard yesterday after KB had this to say when asked about his restructured contract.
We're in a good place. I didn't speak to you guys about it, but I kind of did it on the podcast, whatever, about, really not, making this emotional thing, really just trying to make the best out of the situation that you're presented with. That's what I've done my whole life. So obviously, the restructure the contract. But one thing I do know that it was, it definitely helps out the team a lot. And at the end of the day, we're trying to build a championship roster. And I wouldn't have came back here, or I wouldn't have done what I've done if I didn't think that, we would have an opportunity to go win some ball games. So that's what it's about for me, and I'm happy to be back. I've told you guys multiple times this is my legacy. I wanted to be here, so just glad we was able to get it done.
There's Kevin Byard after practice yesterday, and guys, typically when a player begins and ends his career with one team in professional sports, either the team is holding on to them for too long and giving a guy a deal that, quite frankly, is just a hometown deal in favor of the player.
Right.
We've seen franchises do this all the time. The Nashville Predators, kind of a culprit of that, maybe, under their last regime. Or it's the player is willing to take less than what the free market might give them in order to stay in the same place that is meaningful to them. Usually it's one of two of those things. There are other caveats, there are other positions in sports where other things happen. But I think in this sense, guys, the Titans have a guy in Kevin Byard who is willing to take less to be here now on another occasion.
Mm-hmm. I think it's awesome. Again, nobody has to speak up for, Byard as much as we do at times, but it's good to highlight what he did. I just want to say this real quick. Like, we're talking about him losing $2 million as if it's just $2 or $200. Think about what you would do with $1 million, heck, $2 million. And this guy, of course, has made money in his career, but in the idea that you still are saying, take my $2 million away. I may have some incentives to earn it back, but in the same sense, that's $2 million gone. It does, say a lot about where he is as a person, as a player, as a teammate too. But it's also, look, I'm on a team that has the opportunity to win. We never know how the storyline in the NFL is going to ever shape up. This move for him, bringing DeAndre in, potentially signing somebody else later down the line, is why you stick around teams that have opportunities to win. And that was a great business decision by him at the end of the day with the opportunity to earn it on the back end.
Well, he's always said this. This is his legacy. He would like to, if possible, retire a Titan.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a rare situation that you're able to do that nowadays in the NFL. And so at some point, there's a little give and take that I think has to happen if you kind of want to make that happen. And like I had mentioned, I think earlier last week, bringing in DeAndre Hopkins, this still says a lot about Kevin Byard, like you just mentioned, feeling like, they're still a contender. They can still stack wins. They can still win the AFC South. What happens from there on out, we don't know.
Right.
But they can get themselves to that point, and he still believes that.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin's a different breed, guys. Like Coach Mack said, he's a pro. There's pros and then there's pros.
Yeah.
And Kevin is in the pros category where he has dealt with a lot in his life, off the field even, that has made him the man that he is, that we've grown to love, that Titans fans have grown to love. And he deals with things a little different than other guys do. But what he did was so selfless, but at the same time, he also wants to continue his legacy here, and I respect it.
I do too.
I respect it.
Definitely.
Yes or no, the Titans 2023 season feels like less of a rebuild after Kevin Byard accepting a restructured contract and DeAndre Hopkins signing with the team. Correct or incorrect?
I say correct.
Correct.
Feels less of one. Now, definitely.
To me, the vibe around the entire team for this season has changed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see this a lot. Or in July, you go from thinking, let's win 6 or 7 games and get ready for 2024 with a new quarterback. the conversation just from 2 moves has shifted. And maybe we're all getting ahead of ourselves and too swept up in the moment. I'm willing to admit that. But I don't think that's the case. I genuinely believe that Kevin Byard taking a restructured contract, accepting a pay cut, shows his belief in this team, and in doing so, gives me a little bit more belief in this team.
I do too.
This year is not just a punt, and let's get ready for 2024. And we had signs of that maybe being the case after the draft class that they signed. I mean, you draft Will Levis in the second round, you're thinking about 2024. You're not thinking a lot about 2023 with that pick. You bring in Tajay Spears, you're thinking about life after Derrick Henry, not necessarily life with Derrick Henry, but that's what the good franchises do.
Yeah.
They draft for 2 years ahead. They address immediate needs in free agency, and you're always ahead of the 8 ball because you're drafting for future seasons, yet you're signing and developing for current ones.
I mean, think about this real quick, too, to your point about that rebuild from where we were, and let's go back to February, March. Ben Jones gone. Naquan, he ended up signing his exclusive right, but Bud's gone. You lost, think about this, too. You lost the right guard last year. God,
Nate Davis.
He's
you
in
lost
Chicago.
Nate.
Think about that. You lost Taylor. Like, we had questions about Tannehill. All of this happened in February. It just honestly takes us all back to what Coach Mack usually says, what? Keep your powder dry. It really is a 180 from March to now.
And anytime I'll see people or friends or people recognize us from the show and will ask us, like, hey, what do you think the Titans will be this year? My answer every time has been the same. It's, well, I don't really know. They've got a lot of new faces, but to be honest with you, it's these kinds of teams in the history of this franchise that make the most noise. And it's these kind of teams where the personality of the players fit the head coach that surprise you a little bit.
Yeah. And I thought it was funny. NFL on ESPN put out this tweet and it says, pick a Mike to coach your team. And on this note, it's like Mike Tomlin, Mike Vrabel, Mike McDaniel, Mike McCarthy. Clearly, on this point, what I'm trying to make is that a big part of this has to do with Mike Vrabel continuing to be a coach that you know he's never going to not try to win, right? You're never trying to plummet. And I know 7 games losing streak, that is a big thing. And that's the first time we've seen that. But that is also a lot of injuries that happen, losing your quarterback. I just feel like anytime, again, you have Mike Vrabel, he's going to have a team or try to put together a team that's going to win games.
They also copied that topic from a popular sports podcast.
Oh.
That tweet. Yeah, they kind of ripped that off. Pardon my take. That's okay, though.
Small J's.
I know.
Yeah.
Coming up, more takeaways from training camp practice number 1. Harold Landry practices without a brace. Big news on the Titans defense, plus a reset of the headlines coming up next. I'm apparently choked up about it. Coming up next in the second half of the show on 104.5 The Zone. It is 8:01. Good morning. I'm Will Bowling. After announcing the return of the Oilers throwbacks last weekend, now we know when the Titans will be decked out in those Love Ya Blue uniforms. They announced earlier this morning they will wear the Oilers jerseys on Oilers Titans Alumni Weekend, October 29th at Nissan Stadium against the Atlanta Falcons, and on December the 17th at Nissan Stadium against the Houston Texans. Yesterday, the Titans had their first training camp practice as well of 2023. DeAndre Hopkins made his debut in a Titans practice jersey and left midway through practice to catch a flight. The team will not be on the practice field today. They will be back at St. Thomas Sports Park on the field tomorrow morning. And elsewhere in the NFL, Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers has signed a reworked contract in which he voluntarily reduced his salary by about $35 million over the next 2 seasons. New reports this morning say that former Vikings running back Dalvin Cook will now visit the New York Giants as he looks for his new home in the NFL. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
You better.
Welcome to your Thursday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. It is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. And coming up in 15 minutes, Ben Brown of Pro Football Focus joins us. And we'll ask him the question we asked Ramon and Kayla in our last segment. Does this feel like less of a rebuild in 2023 now that Kevin Byard has a restructured deal and DeAndre Hopkins is catching passes from Ryan Tannehill? 615-737-1045 is the phone number if you want to join in on the discussion. We've got a full crew in studio this morning. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Jackson Williams, our producer, and I am Will Bowling. Has anyone checked on Robert Walsh, by the way?
Just from yesterday's text, not since then, though.
I did. I hit him up on the side to check on him. He is beating himself up so bad. He's beating himself up so bad.
Well, in the text, he sounded like he was beating himself up. I said, bro, we all get sick.
Yeah.
But I get it. I'm the same way. Like when I was in news, it was like that. You never wanted to make anybody mad or take time off.
Oh, yeah. But he's fine, though. He was clearly feeling pretty bad, though. So we hoping to have him back, man.
I blamed it on Buck yesterday on his show.
Good.
And
like a real
Buck
one?
said, don't blame it on me. It's been at least 4 days since my birthday celebration of a week. And I said, that's my point, though. It was a week of celebration. And Robert, was a part of that on the weekend.
Yeah.
And you've been partying all week, so you probably gave it to him.
I want to blame Buck, too.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
That's fantastic.
I know.
It was fantastic.
Isn't it?
That is, man. The Buckapalooza is what we're calling
I know.
it
I
right
saw
now.
you guys went and said hi to Buck.
We did go pop in and say hi to Buck. It was a cool time, man. It was just like, we as a station need to do this more often. But I will say this, though,
We haven't even had our barbecue, so let's not go that far.
Well, we'll have time,
Let's not go that
maybe.
far.
I know. That's right. That's true. I'm still there. We might just cook out in the parking lot if that's the case now.
Sure.
But it was an establishment that was friendly to everybody is what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't super crowded. There was space where tall people like myself can sit around. They had a couple bars that was cool enough. Like, we were in our own little corner, Kayla, and I was just
so
like,
you were
know
having
what?
bottle service?
No bottle
We were
service
not.
this time, although we did get
Interesting.
shots. But we all had Ubers. We were safe people,
Okay.
Just got to clear that up a little bit. But, yeah, it was a cool establishment and good
Nice.
vibes with the folks, too.
I've still never had bottle service in my life, and I probably won't.
Oh,
No.
I have in Vegas, so plenty of times.
I take Will. You had
When we were in Vegas.
your bachelor party.
Okay.
If
trying to plan one
I
for me?
give the invite, I'm an awesome bachelor party planner.
So you're going to
say,
Vegas.
actually, I don't doubt that.
Wherever.
0% chance my bachelor party will be in Vegas.
When you leave,
0%
when you leave, you gonna know you ready to get married. Okay. Ask my brother-in-law. Ask Nardo.
I would hope I've already decided that before I
know.
to that point.
On the last day that we were with my brother-in-law for his bachelor party, Like, he was just like, I'm ready to go home. I said, no, we got one more day. Let's go. And at that moment, it was over for him.
I'm really bad at picking like things like that to do with a big group of people, like birthday stuff or trips and things like that. I'm more just the vibes guy. I was like, y'all let me know what y'all want to do, and I'll just when I need to show up. Don't worry about it.
Right. So
I don't
that
know. I
means
just
you
don't
can
like
plan
things
it.
being about. I don't know.
You can be weekends at Bernie's when we get done with Will. You
I don't
hear
like
me?
making decisions for the whole group. I
Keep
want
it
the
up on
group
his
to all be
shoulders.
happy.
If we have to tie you up, Will, to carry you everywhere we go, like leg to leg, then that's what's gonna happen. You hear me?
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen.
That's the thing. It's hard when you get groups of people together, especially like females for any of that stuff. Because like that's the thing. When we went to Vegas
Yeah.
with all my girlfriends, that was years ago. The only thing that was easy about it is there's only so many things you can do in Vegas. So everybody had to pretty much just agree on the fact that we were going to go to the beach club during the day and go to dinner and go to the clubs at night. And that was
Yeah.
about the only thing.
We can find something
Yeah.
better. If we don't want to do Vegas, hey, don't worry.
You could do
Will.
Savannah, like I said.
We got you.
There you go.
I don't know about Savannah.
That's low key.
Yeah,
Savannah has big girls trip energy. I don't know if it has guys trip energy.
No, I was telling you yesterday.
I know.
There was so many dudes there
Yeah, that
with like
surprises
groups
me.
of guys.
I saw
It's
one of the
haunted.
more. Well, my wife saw it and she told me about it. It was a Woo Boys truck around here. It was, I
boy.
think, it was like a bachelor party that was here. It was all dudes. Well, it was females on one end and dudes on the other end. So I guess they was partying together and stuff like that. But they had on like, I think it was like the what do you want to call them? Like the pink hats and the sachets and stuff like
Maybe that
They
was
were
a
just playing it up.
Maybe that was a
Right.
fantasy
What?
football punishment.
They were just. It
Oh,
may have
could've
been
been.
that too. You never know.
I saw some really good fantasy football punishment ideas yesterday.
Uh-oh.
My favorite is still making someone take the SAT.
Oof.
Yeah, I've heard of that before.
I don't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
go back to
Making
that.
someone take the SAT as a fantasy football punishment if you finish last, because anyone can take it.
Dang.
Pretty legit.
There was that one. The Waffle House Challenge is another really good one.
What is that all about?
You haven't heard of the Waffle
No,
House
I
Challenge?
never heard of the Waffle House Challenge. I thought it was a challenge just to get your food on time.
So you have to sit in a Waffle House for 24 straight hours, but every waffle you eat cuts 1 hour off of it. So, yeah, right. What? So
Wow.
if you eat 12 waffles, then you just need to stay there for 12 total hours.
8 to 8.
If you eat 15 waffles, you just need to stay there for 9 total hours. So that's a very popular fantasy football punishment is the Waffle House Challenge. Waffle House is a place I will always give free shout outs to because that is the fabric with which this country stands upon. That is heaven on earth. An all-star special, two dark waffles.
Oh, you get yours dark?
Oh yeah,
What?
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
you're
do.
light and crispy.
Crispy
I don't know what that
waffles, yeah.
means.
No, but they're like so
Waffle
you have
on,
them,
too.
You have them overcook them a little bit. Then
Yeah,
your
crispy
waffle.
waffles. So that's the way to eat waffles. Crispy
No.
bacon, crispy waffles.
Oh, no.
Dude,
Crispy
by-
hash browns.
Talking your
By
bachelor
the way,
party
if you
weekend.
want good breakfast food, though, you should go to Savannah. I had the best bacon of my freaking
Do they have
life
a Waffle House there?
You don't need a Waffle House because these
you don't always
breakfast
need a Waffle
places
House.
are insane.
Have I told you all the story of what I said during the 2003 Tennessee-Alabama game in 5 overtimes? Why would I have told you that? It was a 5 overtime win for Tennessee over Alabama where James Banks caught, I believe, a 4th and 16 pass to extend the game. And I looked at my brother and my dad, we were all there with me. And I look at them in like the 3rd or 4th overtime. I look at them and say, guys, if we lose, there's always Waffle House. And so now if Tennessee's losing late, like any one of my family will text or look at me and just be like, Will, there's always Waffle
There's
House
always
after the game.
Waffle
Like, you know
House.
what? That might be due it.
Yeah.
do it for real.
And that was the last time Tennessee won in Tuscaloosa, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. No, I'm positive.
My Knoxville might be do it as always Copacella, but they've taken it away from me.
Thunder Road wings, baby.
But I can at least go to Calhoun's and get the wings there still. That's all I was worried about is who's taking the sauce with them. You feel me, Kay? Like who's harboring the sauce right now?
Sauce
Yeah.
guys in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Ron Slay, sauce guy.
I'm
He
a-
approves of the Thunder Road sauce as well at Copper Cellar.
They need to bottle it up, is what I'm telling you.
They probably do.
Sell it.
And sell it. I meant to grab some when we left there last time. I was like, yeah, you can buy it. And I got distracted and walked out. I was like, oh, hate that.
Coming up in 10 minutes, Ben Brown of Pro Football Focus will stop by. Were you a big Pete's guy at UT?
Never heard of Pete's.
Oh, my gosh.
Never heard of it.
I bartended at a pizza at Washington State.
I almost thought you said I barfed at a Pete's, but you
No.
said bartended.
I mean, that
I
probably
think
too.
it's
But
different place.
You bartended too?
Oh, it's not the same place, but I
Yeah.
bartended at a Pete's.
Oh, did you?
There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah, I just gave all my friends like triple the shots for free.
Oh, wow.
So,
Have you ever been to an
last
establishment and
long.
they have like the regulator on the shots?
yeah, I wasn't in my bar.
That is the worst thing
Couldn't be
ever.
my bar.
Couldn't be my bar. Hey, what is it on the college campus for if we can't overpour?
Yeah,
What kind of bartender would you be to?
Easy. Wow.
Wiley night.
So it's 8:11 in the morning.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
You sound like Brent Doherty.
Yeah, I did sound like Brent right there, didn't it? It's 12 o'clock somewhere. Or this past weekend with Buck and you guys. Jeez.
Well,
You were troopers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's not play it up like that. He mess around and make T-shirts next year. I want a T-shirt.
Well, this was his
Probably
30th. So,
Is it his 30th?
yeah.
So he's
I
got
didn't
10
realize.
years.
Buck's
to
in a
play
new
it up
decade.
again.
This would have been the one to do big. There was an equally big celebration yesterday when Harold Landry was back on the field as we seamlessly Big J journalism transition without a knee brace, guys,
Yeah.
Yeah,
on defense for the Titans.
Yeah.
good to see.
That's big.
As welcome a sight as 2 crispy waffles on your table with an all-star special. Hash browns chopped, chunked, and diced.
Smothered.
Crispy bacon.
Pepped.
What do you...
Pepper, I'm just jalapenos on it all the time.
Uh-huh.
It's awesome. But somebody's had something similar with their knee happen. Mine was hyperextended. That brace means a lot. It took me a while to take mine off. I was just, even though I didn't need it, knee was stable and everything, and I didn't have an ACL. Mine was just hyperextended. I say that like it's normal. But the brace meant a lot. Like the compression sleeve on it meant a lot too. Like I had to feel like it was secure. You know what I'm saying? And for Harold to be out there with no brace, no wrap, no anything, man, still got to be slow to go because it's been a whole calendar year before he's been this ramped up. But that's exciting. I'm hoping they gradually put Harold in, and it's not like a reset or anything as far as his recovery goes with his knee.
It's always interesting. I don't know if it's a comfort thing too to add to that, right? Like to have a brace on.
Oh, yeah.
And so it is like for the mental purposes, I think, too, part of it. Robert Woods didn't have his for the majority of training camp last year either. So
It's just like some guys, like the equipment that you wear in games and practice does matter. Like I've seen guys with back flaps on. Like, dude, you don't even have like a position where you're going to get hit in your back.
well, JJ wore was it the elbow,
The elbow
brace thing?
mechanism. I don't
Whatever
even what
that
you want
was.
to call JJ Watt's situation he had going on. But I don't necessarily think he needed it every game, but it was a part of his uniform and probably just made him feel comfortable with playing with it.
Yeah.
Still not as cool as Patrick Willis, former Ole Miss and San Francisco 49er linebacker, wearing the club
Oh, that's
on
right.
his hand. I saw Jason Swain actually mention that on Twitter earlier this week.
Did he?
He was like, I'll never forget Ole Miss 05, Patrick Willis in the club. We don't mean a bar. We mean wearing the big tape to just had a club.
We
Dang.
were worried about that
it was
thing
05,
too.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 05.
Yeah.
I remember going down there too.
Surprise on my voice.
We stayed in Memphis, had to drive to Oxford.
I'm sorry.
I know, man.
I was at that game,
Were you?
actually. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was at 100%. I went to Rendezvous in Memphis the night before.
Yeah.
Good bribs.
Yeah.
I'll give. You don't like Rendezvous?
It's better.
Oh, wow.
I like Rendezvous, but it is better.
Oh.
Quit talking about
Where's
my mom.
better?
It's your mom name?
What?
Better or
Quit
Rendezvous?
talking about my mom. Rondi.
Oh, that's your. Oh, Rondi. Oh, I was about to say.
Why don't you talk about my mom like
I'm
that?
going to say her name is Rendezvous.
What place is better?
Central. It's pretty solid.
Well, you have that here.
Well, the one in Memphis is one that
Yeah, we
hits.
take the one good thing Memphis
Rendezvous is
does,
a
we
good-
bring it to
a good
Nashville.
attraction. Yeah, it's solid.
Just bring Graceland over here while we're at it.
No, well, Graceland got sold too, if I'm not mistaken.
Did it?
Yeah.
Should we bring the pyramid over here? Let that float
That's
on
a
the
Bass
Cumberland.
Pro Shop now, though, too.
I know.
That's huge. You
No.
been to Memphis?
No.
Not
Yeah,
yet?
you're not missing anything. Coming up next, Ben Brown of Pro Football Focus stops by. We'll get his thoughts on how much the DeAndre Hopkins edition changes the conversation in the AFC South. Go around the headlines where Dalvin Cook is headed to the Big Apple. Interesting. As he looks to possibly team up with Aaron Rodgers up there in New York. Lots to discuss with Ben Brown of PFF coming up next on Amon, Kayla, and Will. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Is it time to replace your air conditioning unit? Well, if the answer is yes, then call the expert team at Lee Company today and ask about their current special financing offers. And look, if you don't know whether or not it's time to replace your AC unit, you're probably going to find out over the next couple of days with triple digits coming our way here in Nashville. Your heating and air conditioning system, though, it not only keeps your home comfortable year-round, it can also help enhance the quality of air around you and for your loved ones as well. Don't wait until your old system breaks. Have Lee Company take a look today. This heat wave is coming. You got to be ready for it. And right now, you can get $1,250 off the price of a new air conditioning unit. That's right, $1,250 off. So give them a call at 615-567-1000 or visit them online at leecompany.com. 615-567-1000. That's the number you need to call. Lee Company, all you need. Continuing your Thursday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, we're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville with our 11-year NFL veteran, Ramon Foster, our capitalized J journalist, Kayla Anderson, and Jackson Williams, our producer. I'm Will Bowling, and joining us this morning on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, Pro Football Focus writer Ben Brown, kind enough to give us a couple of minutes. What's up, Ben? How are you?
Hey, everyone. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Obviously, the training camp reports, everything else ramping up, so it's good to have football, I would say, officially back and coming relatively quickly for all of us.
Routes on air and ladder drills have never been more welcomed. Ben, here in Tennessee, obviously a lot of the talk is about DeAndre Hopkins and the way that changes the conversation in the AFC South. From your perspective, how much does this move from the Titans change their chances of maybe challenging Jacksonville this season?
Yeah, I very much honestly think it does. We've seen maybe, I would say, a little bit of, betting market movement in their direction post DeAndre Hopkins signing, but I think it is a pretty outsized impact from what he was going to be with any other team to what he's actually going to provide for the Tennessee Titans. We all know, Mike Vrabel has, very much been a guy that has, pulled together, quality players, but very much gotten probably more out of them than even what the talent on the field would probably suggest. I think in a lot of ways, this DeAndre Hopkins signing once again kind of signals that ability to do that. I know people want to talk about him and compare him to, the Julio Jones signing, the Robert Woods signing, all these other guys, the retreat veteran wide receiver. But it very much seems like DeAndre Hopkins' skill set is going to be one that can kind of continue forward, and especially in this heavy play action type offense where they really just need guys to be able to kind of get open or separate a little bit, or at least make some contested catches in the intermediate type routes. I think Hopkins can very much still do that at this point in his career, and I very much think that given the structure of how the Tennessee Titans and where they're really good at in some solid positions, I think that they could very much minimize variance and potentially win a lot of these close scoring games. And if they do that, they're very much going to be on the heels of the Jacksonville Jaguars all season long, I would say.
Ben Brown, Pro Football Focus, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. And Ben, the conversation too has been that maybe 2023 is a rebuild year, reset things, and with a lot of cap space next season, maybe Will Levis is ready to take the reins of the team. But our conversation today has been, with Kevin Byard taking a restructured deal and DeAndre Hopkins coming on board, this feels like less of a rebuild and maybe a team that can win some games this year. What's your outlook on that? Does it feel like this team is really waiting for 2024 to be legit contenders?
No, I don't think they are whatsoever, really, to be honest with you. I think if you look around, they have, probably the best front 3-4 type defense in football in a lot of ways. They're going to be able to kind of stop the run, and if they can at least, bring some pressure in certain situations, they could have a top 5 or even a top 10 type defense, I think. So I like the way that they're rounding into form there. We have seen Ryan Tannehill, very much come into his own for Tennessee, and I think that, he will have another pretty decent season. Obviously, with Derrick Henry still in the fold, they're going to be able to rush the football relatively well. So I think they're a team that, they may not reach the upper echelon type tiers of the AFC. They might not challenge teams like the Buffalo Bills or the Cincinnati Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs come playoff time. But it very much seems like they can win a lot of football games in the AFC South. Do have a really pretty easy strength of schedule based on what PFF metrics are kind of stated about where the other teams that fall on their schedule are going to end up. So I think they're going to surprise some people. It's a spot where I definitely already bet over 7.5 game win totals. I do expect them to kind of finish in that 9-game win total. And if they do that, they could easily be live for the AFC South. And if not, they could maybe be kind of backing their way into that 7th spot of the playoffs as well as a wild card team. So I don't expect a rebuild or any kind of real retreat on them this season. And I think that, if that happened, then the quarterback competition next year, I think, becomes really intriguing for a team that is still very much kind of at or close to the top of the division, I would say.
Ben, beauty is kind of in the eye of the beholder. So the fact that we don't see Jacksonville every day the way we do the Titans, the question I have is from you guys' metric and the way you view the game and your film breakdown, what separates or why do you have, the Titans on the heels of the Jaguars as opposed to them kind of running the same race? Is there something that Jacksonville possesses right now that you kind of need to see something out of the Titans?
I wouldn't say that. I just think in a lot of ways the way in which they kind of ended last season. Obviously, Doug Peterson is a coach that has very much been there before. I think in year one with Trevor Lawrence, it seemed like he very much kind of maximized his strengths in a way that Urban Meyer did not do in Lawrence's rookie season. I think, that continuity for another season, like we kind of all expect at some point for Trevor Lawrence to kind of end up as a top 5 or even like a top 3 quarterback at the NFL level. And that's just not something that the Tennessee Titans are ever going to get from a guy like Ryan Tannehill, unfortunately. So I think maybe sooner rather than later, figuring out maybe what they do have in Will Levis is really going to be kind of the better long-term approach. But right now, I think a lot of it just comes down to, at the quarterback position, is Trevor Lawrence a guy that can actually go out and win some football games for you? And I think very much like he is arriving into his own, and that is very much like a distinct possibility this year. And I think, Ryan Tannehill, for all of his accolades and everything else, just probably isn't a guy that, you feel really confident with the ball with 2 minutes left to go, needing to lead some sort of touchdown type drive in order to win that game. I think that's very much a spot where, when they're ahead, when the defense is playing strongly, when they do have Derrick Henry kind of rolling in all directions, they're a really tough team to beat. But when the going kind of gets tough and they need to kind of complete a ton of passes in order to get back into the game, that's just a spot where you don't feel, I would say, overly confident about the Tennessee Titans.
Ben Brown of PFF with us this morning. And Ben, that's where I want to go. You speak of Derek right there, too. I was going there next. How do you guys view as far as the running back position? Because that's a huge topic of conversation right now, the way you guys judge the importance of team. I guess if you were to rank them positions 1 to 11, where do the running back fall offensively for teams across the NFL?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is pretty low. I do think, especially at the college football level, they have a much greater impact on this kind of like win probability or win expectation for any given week. But at the NFL level, like with the defensive line and the linebackers so fast and so quick, like there needs to be quality blocking up front, or else you're just not going to have a ton of success as running back. So we do think, a lot of the offensive line positions are incredibly key and important to running the football. And then in a lot of ways as well, like, from PFF's perspective, some of the value of a running back is very much what they can kind of provide in the passing game, right? And what they actually can bring about as far as like if they can split out wide in certain spots, if they can win in the slot, if they are at least providing some semblance of, passing game production as well. And I think, when you're looking at the two rosters, like Travis Etienne is very much a guy that has kind of in a lot of ways been trending in the right direction, especially from a passing perspective. They also have Tank Bigsby, who is, pretty good from a receiving standpoint at the NFL level. And, going back to it with the Tennessee Titans, like we all know Derrick Henry and what he can do rushing the football. He was, I would say, a little bit involved in some screen game type activity, but it is very much not really offering the same receiving type threat. And I think that's maybe a reason as well that, although no one would say, Travis Etienne is anywhere close to the rushing running back that Derrick Henry is, like for the value that they're providing on the field, there is some upside to Travis Etienne, especially in the passing game, that we're just not getting from Derrick Henry, I would say right now. So it's tough. And I know like there's like a little bit of a, renaissance or awakening with the running back position right now, but it just does seem like a spot at the NFL level where you do need quality big guys up front in order to kind of alleviate some of the stress that a running back's going to deal with. And then if you get a guy like Derrick Henry that can make some guys miss, run over some people, like then you're starting to really have a productive offense, I would say.
So if you were a non-NFL employee, not on site betting on the NFL games, then a running back being out of the starting lineup doesn't really move the needle of the spread, is what you're saying too, somewhat?
Yeah, very much so. I think it impacts some like player props and stuff like that. But from like a spread perspective, I think if Derrick Henry was out of the game, like I would not expect like the Titans line to really move, a half point or more in any one direction with him, like kind of being a surprise inactive in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Speaking of running backs, reports right now that Dalvin Cook is on his way to New York to visit with the Jets. We just saw Aaron Rodgers essentially take a pay cut to possibly get some more names there. What would it do in terms of moving the line even more if they get a guy like Dalvin Cook added to that already, what it looks like going to be potent offense?
Yeah, it is. I think, it is an intriguing piece. That is one of, it is very quickly, I would say, turning into one of the most crowded backfields in the NFL if that does that. But, I mean, I'm very much a guy that liked Breece Hall. I liked Michael Carter the year before as well. And I really liked the Israel Abanikay draft pick that they had this season. I was kind of intrigued to see what he brought with Breece Hall wasn't kind of able to hit the ground running in a lot of ways because of injury. So I think early on in the season, like Delvin Cook's the guy, veteran, that is very much going to be able to, provide some guidance to all these young running backs. But I think when it's all said and done, heading towards the end of the season, like they are going to be much better off with guys like Breece Hall and Michael Carter in the fold than probably Delvin Cook. So I think, early on in the season, it'll be helpful, but the more and more he's playing later on in the season, I actually think it might be more of a detriment long-term to what this New York Jets team is trying to build.
I think it's still interesting up in Indianapolis with what we're going to see out of this quarterback position. Right now, it looks like, day one of camp, Gardner Minshew was taking those first-team reps. Anthony Richardson, they've said time and time again, like they are looking for him to be the guy even starting this year. What's the chances that he isn't the starter day one?
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's kind of small. I know they have, come out with reports Minshew's taking the first-team reps, but they liked Anthony Richardson. This is a completely new coaching staff, everything else. They very much identified Anthony Richardson as the guy. And to me, the weird thing with this situation in particular is just how different both these quarterbacks are and how different in a lot of ways. You're going to have to, scheme an offense around them to kind of maximize either one of their strengths. And if you are trying to cater to the young guy, like that just means you have Gardner Minshew potentially running an offense that isn't ideal to him. And if you do that, then kind of like what happens if he is actually the starter? So I think you do have to go with Anthony Richardson sooner rather than later. Understand that there are going to be some growing pains, but to really maximize his long-term potential, I think you need to structure, the offensive scheme and play call and everything else around what he's best at. And to do that, I think he has to be starting in the fold and kind of getting those first-team reps right away. So that's what I expect to have happen, very much because they did identify him. I just don't see how a 1 year, 1 year sitting on the bench is really going to help him, especially watching a Gardner Minshew-led offense that is going to be very different than what he's actually dealing with next year.
Ben Brown, PFF, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. And Ben, when you look in the AFC East specifically, you've got what you are saying is maybe the crowdest backfield in the league. It's certainly true. One of the most crowded divisions when it comes to teams that could win it as well, with the Bills at plus 130, the Jets and Dolphins at plus 250 and plus 290. And then Bill Belichick and the Patriots all the way back there at plus 750 to win that division. Where is there value in that race and what may be one of the most fascinating division races in the league this year?
Yeah, very much so. I do definitely agree with you. I think, obviously Buffalo just seems like they might be still a little bit highly priced from a betting market perspective. So I definitely don't think there's value there. I also don't think there's value whatsoever on New England. I think they are probably way too far away to actually have any sort of say in who wins this division. So I'm looking at a team like the Miami Dolphins. The second year with Mike McDaniel, it does seem like Tua's going to be back and in the fold. I think given their pass run splits, it does seem like Tua could, in a lot of ways, maybe be close to or lead the league in passing yards numbers. And if that happens, like this is a team that it could be really intriguing. So I think there's a weird high upside case with them offensively. And they very much, I would say, kind of, shored up the really dark spots that they had defensively, bringing in Jalen Ramsey. They are going to have finally Bradley Chubb for a full season after making that midseason trade for him last year. So I think they're a defense that's kind of rounded into form, and they could very much, I would say, challenge to be one of the best offenses in football starting this next season. So I like them. I think that's probably the spot, but there is still some, there's some probably things that we aren't fully understanding or accounting for with the New York Jets and just how good they could be if Aaron Rodgers does kind of return to this, his prior seasons type form before he kind of, I would say, maybe lost his way a little bit in Green Bay.
Ben, I know a lot of fantasy football leagues wait to draft until later in training camp in case somebody gets hurt. Obviously, there's always that one big season-ending injury that seems to happen this time of year, unfortunately, to a big-time player. From the betting perspective, when do you allow yourself to look at week one lines? Because on anyone's betting app, they could go ahead and bet on week one right now if they wanted to. When are you allowing yourself to say, all right, this is where I believe value is and kind of begin that thought process?
Yeah, I would say in a lot of ways I have already started. I think just getting an understanding of where the betting market is on a week-to-week basis. Like you can probably go out and bet basically, I think, all 17 weeks at least along the spread right now. So just kind of that initial understanding and tracking, I think, is very valuable. But yeah, there's some spots that definitely already bet from a week one perspective, and I think that you maybe are going to deal with the follow-up from an injury, especially at the quarterback position, if that happens, and just kind of take that as a loss. But I think there's enough not real understanding of where these teams are going to go that we could potentially get a little bit more understanding through training camp that might be beneficial to other people. But I kind of want to stick with my projections and things that I have at least right now and bet some of those inefficient lines. And then if they do move against me, that's really a spot that I'd then reevaluate at that point. So I think, now's the time. We're a month or so out. I very much think it's time to probably get down on some of those week one lines for sure.
One more quick one from me. You guys, PFF, having a lot of love for the tight end here, Chigakonkwo. Like, what have you seen about him that, people want to put their money on this guy?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that, I would say has definitely flashed in a lot of ways. Kind of had a few intriguing type big plays that could very much be really beneficial to this offense. And I think as him, actually running, a high degree of routes, basically a lot more than what he did last year. Like if he's a full-time player, there's just not a lot there from, the tight end position outside of Travis Kelce,
sure.
And Mark Andrews to the point where he is a really intriguing, flyer type player. And if he is getting close to the 70% snap routes run, it is a guy that could easily pay off his ADP from a fantasy perspective. So, we've really liked him. I think he had like an 84.6 receiving grade last season on, once again, pretty limited, routes run, but he's a guy that has very much flash, big play type ability at the tight end position. And given the fact that there's just not a lot of those options there, I think he's a really intriguing piece and could actually be maybe the key piece for the Titans offense here in 2023.
Ben Brown, Pro Football Focus, has been our guest this morning on RKW at PFF_Ben Brown, if you want to give him a follow on Twitter. Great stuff, Ben. Thanks so much.
Nice, man. Thanks.
Thanks. Have a great show.
You too,
Absolutely. There's Ben Brown with us this morning on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. We'll react to some of what he had to say and tell you about an upcoming event we have where you can hang out with us. Some fun show news on the way coming up right here on Ramon K. Little Will. Continuing your Thursday morning on RKW. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045, the number. We've got details on how you can join us next week. Little RKW night out for the vibes, for the people. Will be a vibe.
Yeah.
Can confirm that. We will get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we go to the phones at 615-737-1045. Corey is in Hendersonville, up first with us this morning. What's up, Corey?
Good morning, Corey.
Not much, guys. Good morning, lady and gentlemen. I know that you guys had mentioned that series Quarterback on Netflix, and I've noticed as soon as it came out, like I binged that thing within 2 days.
Yeah.
It was just that good. But one of the things that I really liked when I was watching the highlights with Mahomes and the Chiefs and whatnot is how much freedom and flexibility that Andy Reid gives Mahomes with the offense and allowing them to create plays. And, Ramon, I was curious, with your days in Pittsburgh, did Roethlisberger have that type of freedom in y'all's offense as well? And do you think that that's something that Tannehill could potentially get with Mike Vrabel? There was one other question I had as well.
Okay.
With Malik Willis in the offense, do you foresee them being able to set up maybe like a package or two that would allow Malik to be able to come in as quarterback with Tannehill maybe going out wide at wide receiver and using Malik kind of the same way that the Saints do with Taysom Hill?
Yeah. Awesome. Great question.
Thank you. Good questions.
First of all, we brought this up in the 6th, Corey, and of course we got just reset it. But Tannehill yesterday had control of the offense. I told you, he ended up breaking the huddle like he audibled, and then he checks out of something and added. It seemed like a hot yesterday. My process of what I think have happened was probably wrong, but it seems like with Tannehill standing around the entire offseason, which Vrabel acknowledged, him and Tim Kelly had a whole lot of conversation. A lot depends on this year, and Tannehill knows him too, and so does Tim Kelly. I think Tannehill would get that flexibility. Most franchise quarterbacks do have that suggestion box they can give to the OC, and I do personally think Tannehill has it. He probably did in the past more, and we didn't recognize it because everybody always downplays anything Tannehill does. Yesterday, verbally, visually, and just all things included in his play at quarterback showed that him and Tim Kelly seem to be on the same page as far as input on what he, the quarterback, wants to do. And
can I add something to that note before you get to Malik? And real quick, because he was talking about quarterback on Netflix and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's offense. That's so flexible too, because like Patrick Mahomes even made up his own play. Like, they made up that ring around the rosy play. Like, he allowed them to get very creative. It's never going to be to that extent with a Ryan Tannehill, probably Tim Kelly offense, but I agree with you. I think you're going to see a little bit more flexibility, which in my eyes will benefit Ryan Tannehill and these wide receivers and these other weapons more.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
That's going to be like when Marcus Mariota was the quarterback and Terry Robisky was his offensive coordinator. Yeah. And the conversation around that was, please just let Marcus call his own plays. Yeah. Because he's better at calling plays than the OC is.
Sure.
That's part of it.
That's why Mike Mularkey was no longer the coach and Mike Vrabel was hired. Malik Willis question, Ramon.
Malik, that is such one of those situations to where it has to be circumstantial. That's just what it is. Like, Malik runs out there. What is every defense going to do? Hey, 7. Like, it calls out everything it's telepathing, like everything that's going to happen. You know, if Tannehill's in, there's always, hey, watch the quarterback. If Malik doesn't throw the ball, he's probably going to run it or hand it off or give some kind of zone option. It's cute to have it, but I don't think it's overly necessary unless you're really incorporating him more in the offense instead of like 3-play selections.
Yeah, it didn't go great last year when there were certain situations where he was brought in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not going to do it, because I think there will be some creative aspects to this offense.
Yeah.
But that, like you were saying, Ramon, I feel like that's kind of an obvious situation.
Super obvious. I'd much rather go tackle eligible than I would have Malik stroll out there.
To me, the Titans have a running quarterback in their starter.
No, they
Ryan
do.
Tannehill. I would rather the Titans run Ryan on a designed run than run Malik Willis, because he fumbled twice last season when they did that.
You're right. And he did it yesterday again. He's using those legs. Those ankles are ready to go.
Yeah.
Last year, it made more sense to get Malik a sub package to give him a little bit of confidence and a little bit of game experience. But But now that he's probably not as much part of your future plans as he, as you hoped he was this time last year, I'd rather them just run Ryan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good questions, though, from
Really
Corey
good.
Henderson.
Really good.
Appreciate
Really
the
good.
call. 615-737-1045. We've got the final hour wide open for your Titans phone calls. Plus, guys, next Wednesday, we are headed to beautiful First Horizon Park.
Let's go.
We've got some tickets to give away. You could come hang out with us in the Bandbox. We are throwing a Bandbox party Wednesday, August 2nd as the Sounds host the Durham Bulls.
Ooh.
And we've got tickets to give away. We've got social media giveaways coming up in the next few days, so you're going to want to keep it here. We know you already are listening to us all morning. All 4 hours every minute.
But don't miss it.
Now just listen a little more intently, because coming up, we will give away some tickets on the phone lines, and you will have a chance to hang out with us and watch some baseball on a Wednesday night. Fourth quarter of the show on deck. Sounds ticket giveaway also on deck. In the hole, maybe. On deck and in the hole. Baseball terms on 104.5 The Zone. 9 o'clock on the dot. Good morning. Happy Thursday. I'm Will Bowling. After announcing the return of Oilers throwbacks over the weekend, the Titans earlier this morning officially announced when they'll wear them. October the 29th at home in Nissan Stadium against the Atlanta Falcons. But the big headline, the Tennessee Titans will play the Houston Texans on December the 17th in Nissan Stadium wearing Houston Oilers throwback jerseys. I think a couple people over there aren't too happy about that. Yesterday, the Titans had their first training camp practice of 2023. DeAndre Hopkins made his debut in a Titans uniform and left to catch a flight midway through practice. The team will not be on the practice field today. However, their next practice is scheduled for tomorrow morning. In college football, the Big 12's presidents and chancellors voted unanimously on a conference call to accept Colorado as a new member of the conference on Wednesday night. A Colorado departure from the Pac-12 would come after this upcoming season and coincide with the end of the Pac-12 television deal, meaning the Buffs will not have to pay any exit fee to the Pac-12. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Welcome to the fourth and final hour of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. It's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. As we give away some Sounds tickets, talk some Titans, get you training camp takeaways, and anything in between that you want to bring us on the phone lines at 615-737-1045. With Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Jackson Williams, our producer. My name is Will Bowling, and we've got some sound tickets to give away right now. 104.5 The Zone has teamed up with the Nashville Sounds for another party with our listeners. Be caller number 5 right now to win a pair of tickets to join us, RKW, for a bandbox party at First Horizon Park on Wednesday, August 2nd, as the Sounds host the Durham Bulls. 615-737-1045. A pair of tickets to hang out with us and watch the Sounds next Wednesday night at beautiful First Horizon Park in the bandbox. 615-737-1045. You can talk to Jackson Williams, and then you can hang out with us.
Yeah.
Sweet. Phone lines, lighten up.
Yeah, that's going to be a good time right there. I always like going to their parks.
It's such a great park, and it's, you know, you don't really always go to watch the game, right? A lot of people just go to kind of be in the environment, hang out, have a good time. But, I mean, you can't do it much better than what they do there. They do a good job.
I'll bring my scorebook and just intently watch the game. I'm just kidding.
You can be Maggie Corbin.
I have done that before, though.
You're the scorebook guy?
It depends.
Oh, okay.
If I'm at a game that I know I'm going to sit and watch all of, I have a broadcast scorebook.
Okay.
Because there's like a different kind that broadcasters use.
Yeah.
Mainly because it has defensive alignment on the page where the team is batting. So you have the visitor's defensive alignment on the same page. That way, when your shortstop hits a pop fly to left, you know who's in left to go catch it. Because you can't see numbers in baseball when you're broadcasting.
That's right. I'm not usually one, though, as you speak about what you do, to get like hot dogs at stadiums. Really? Hardly ever. But
you do not know ball, apparently.
The smoked sausage or the Italian sausages at the Sound Stadium.
The brats.
The brats.
Ooh.
Hey.
Dude, their chicken fingers
Tier
are
1.
through the roof.
Yeah.
Pepper fire hot chicken that they've had there for
I've never
a while.
had that.
Their hot chicken's good there.
Is it?
Yeah. And
Really
their
good.
orange dreamsicles out in the bandbox
Never
are
had that.
insane.
Yeah.
We'll be
Even
there Wednesday.
Travis liked
Can
it.
try them all.
Yeah.
Tier 1 is what you're saying? Is up
I
there?
think so.
Okay. All right.
And you only need one.
I only need one.
That's right.
Sounds
Yeah,
like a
it's
good
so
time.
good. They have frozen whiskey Cokes.
Yes, they do.
As well.
That's
Do
the
they
other
really?
one. Uh-huh.
I clearly just stay in my little area and
The
don't go
bandbox
anywhere.
is the place to go.
I've never been to the
The
bandbox.
amount
You're
of
about
people
to.
in Nashville
Yeah.
who will like pregame going out by going to the bandbox.
Yeah.
That's like a big thing in the summer for, young,
It
enterprising
really is.
people.
Well, guess where we'll be then.
In the bandbox.
You doggone right.
Because we're young.
Yeah.
We're young,
full
Will.
of life.
I know you are, but Ramon and I are also young.
We're teetering. We're good. Hey, mentally,
I'm 21. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mentally, you're 20. Oh, you're just got. Yeah, you're on me. Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm around. Yeah, similar.
You're teetering around.
I'm teetering around 27. Yeah,
mentally, I'm y'all's age. So
there we go.
Well, see, look how everything works out for the greater good here.
I mean, I grew up thinking I was my siblings' age, and they're 10 and 12 years older than me.
Oh.
So, and y'all are pretty much that too. So.
Yeah, I am like 12 years older than you, exactly. Oh, because I'm the same age as your brother.
You're in between my brother and sister's grade in college, or in high school. You were 04 in high school, right?
Well, yeah, I'm 04.
Yeah, my brother was 03, my sister was 05. That's what I'm saying, is like, that's why, I know.
You know what? Ramon Bowling. That's the new name.
Go.
Come on over.
That's
I was like,
name.
wait, you're going bowling?
Yeah,
What?
Ramon Bowling.
Ramon
That's the
Bowling?
new name right there. Maybe then we'll have ownership of Thompson Bowling Arena then. You know?
Yeah, we.
I
already do. We.
Yes,
You're going to have to get in on that.
Absolutely,
Pay some money there, Mom.
Me and Brent Doherty have our names on buildings in Knoxville.
What? Where's Brent's name at?
Doherty Engineering Building.
How about Foster Field?
Even better.
No, wait,
I gotta pay a lot of money for
don't
that,
give him
though.
that.
Foster Practice Field?
Yeah, no, Peyton got that one. I know Peyton gave up.
Neil and Thompson Sports Complex.
He gave up a whole
I'm sure
lot
he did.
to get his name on that. But I do have my picture on the window coming out of the locker room, though.
Well, there we go. That's
So
cool.
they can come onto the field.
I remember I would go to
Nice.
practice at UT. I'd see your picture on the wall.
Yep.
Like, oh, that's the guy who plays for the Steelers.
Do they like slap it? Like, you know how they sometimes they.
Just to give my all
We
sign.
do have that, but
Give my
mine
all.
is on the door. If they slapping me on the door, I might need to watch who's slapping me on the
That
door.
might
then,
not be
okay?
do it.
That might not be do it. Doggone right.
They do have the I will give my all for Tennessee Today sticker in every door, basically, in anywhere for athletes.
Didn't they do it in the stadium too? Now,
Well, yeah.
I thought at every exit now is the I will give my all.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
they
yes.
did. Yes.
So starting this year, every entrance to every section in Neyland has the I will give my all for Tennessee Today sign on it, where you can like slap the sign as you go to your seats.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Which is a great touch.
Well, if some opposing fan is going to rip it off, though, too, I got a feeling that's going to happen. Unless you screw it in and it's made out of metal.
There was one.
You need to investigate on that.
I do.
That was the first thing I hung up in my freshman year dorm at Tennessee. I bought an I will give my all for Tennessee Today sign from the Vol Shop. And before I made my bed, put that sign up.
Just hyping it up, like, let's go.
You know.
This is going to be a good day.
I'd slap it when I go in my 8 a.m. classes, when I did go to those 8 a.m.
Right.
I
classes.
had 8 a.m. classes.
I know.
Depending on what
Those
year.
got less attended once I got older.
Problem
No doubt.
was after 6 a.m.s, coach would take you to class. So you couldn't skip your 8 a.m. because you were already up at 5 to work out.
True.
And if you're on time, then you're late with those weight programs. So really, you were at practice at like 5:30 or 5:45, and then you'd be sweaty, and they wouldn't let us go back and shower. And legitimately, practice was at 6. And if we had 8 a.m.s as freshmen because we couldn't get anything else, which happened all the time,
Right.
they would take you in your sweaty workout clothes, like shoes are sopping wet because you've run in the frost of the grass that morning and the morning dew around the course. And I would look over to the person next to me in class and be like, I'm so sorry. They probably hated me.
Speaking of just stadium and campus stuff, I really want to see how our friends on the West End, Vanderbilt, pull that stadium together. Have they said they're operating while playing games?
It is there's no seats in either end zone and there's no jumbotron. They've got a lot of stuff to do, and Vanderbilt has needed this level of renovation around their football stadium, so it's worth it. Not criticizing.
No, absolutely not.
Because every time, I try to say anything about Vandy fans just think that I'm criticizing them, and I'm not. It's wild how that works.
That is crazy.
But no, yeah, they've got a lot of work to do.
They do. And I'm asking seriously because they play week 0. But it's a home game.
Home game week 0. They opened fall camp yesterday.
The cool thing would be if they traveled to Hawaii this year, they would have basically an extra 3 weeks to get more done. But
they did that last year.
Yeah, they're home right now. So
Hawaii was renovating their stadium when they were there last year too.
They
had to basically play in a high school stadium last year against Hawaii.
That's right.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm wondering because the Nissan I think is supposed to have turf now.
Yes.
So will they be able to operate play on the Titan Stadium?
That'll be interesting. You'll be amazed though what these work people can do in a matter of
I'm sure.
weeks. But yeah, that'll be curious to see, even 2 weeks before. What do they got? What they got done?
I know.
Are they ready to go?
I know. So I am a little worried about that, though, as for their sake of playing a home game, because revenue matters on home games, too. So.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting stuff from Sean Payton this morning as we go around the league, and we'll get back to the Titans training camp takeaways coming up here in 10 minutes. Sean Payton meeting with USA Today in an exclusive interview had some very strong things to say about a number of topics, including his first quote, which says, "Can I say this to you? I'm going to be pissed off if this is not a playoff team."
Let's ride.
And then goes on to say, it doesn't happen often where an NFL team or organization gets embarrassed. And that happened here. Part of it was their own fault relative to spending so much bleep time trying to win the offseason. The PR, the pomp and circumstance, marching people around and all this stuff. We're not doing any of that. Sean Payton goes on to tell USA Today, the Jets did that this year. You watch Hard Knocks, all of it. I can see it coming. Remember when Dan Snyder put that dream team together?
Yep.
Peyton says, I was at the Giants. I was a young coach. I thought, how are we going to compete with them? Dion's there now. That team won 8 games or whatever. So listen, just put the work in. I could not agree more. Sean Payton, stand up when you preach, bud.
Oh, wow.
Granted, I don't think it's going to work out for Russell Wilson there. I do think Russell Wilson will be a lot better this season.
I hope. Can't
Sean
get
Payton
much worse.
is as good of a quarterback coach as there is in this league. So I think that they will be miles better than they were a season ago. Granted, there's a lot of good quarterback play in that division as it is in the AFC West. But his point on the Jets is 100% accurate. It feels a lot like what the Broncos did last year. And the only difference is you've got a little bit more of a proven head coach and a little bit more of a proven defense in Robert Saleh. But we talked ourselves into Denver being the team a season ago, and I'm not going to do that with New York until they prove it because they've got a really tough schedule.
You know what? To your point a second ago, where's the offering played at? He was preaching on that one.
Absolutely.
That made so much sense right there. It's basically tell y'all, look, we're here to play football. We're here to win games. He's from the old school. The way he does stuff, Sean Payton, it's just good and refreshing to hear people kind of voice that because you get kind of shunned a little bit these days when you say, nah, man, I'm a football player. Or, hey, I just want to coach. It's good that he said, look, all those antics is out the window.
And I think he kind of had to say that, too, because, first of all, Sean Payton gets a lot of notoriety just because of the coach he was. And coming back to the league and coaching, I think it was important that there wasn't a lot of pomp and circumstance behind it, just like there was when Russell Wilson came from the Seahawks to try to be the savior, supposedly, of the Broncos last year, and that went in the ditch. So I think that was probably the best way to approach this whole offseason and going into the season is like, we don't need attention. We're just going to get back to doing what we need to do to be a decent team this year.
Yeah. Ooh, that was hot fire from him, man. That was
Payton,
like a freestyle cipher from Sean Payton.
Sean Payton is old enough now at the point of his career where he just doesn't care.
And he put names on it, too. That's what I was just going to say. He put names on it.
I love it so much. I just love the authenticity.
But he also called out a team that he will potentially have to play or see at some point, though. I mean, he directly called out the Jets. Like, that is bulletin board material if the Jets get right.
And he called out Nathaniel Hackett as this article goes on, too.
Oh, my.
He said, there's so much dirt around that. There's 20 dirty hands for what was allowed, tolerated in the training rooms. He uses, not really an expletive, but in the I'll just paraphrase, freaking training rooms. The meeting rooms, the offense. He says, I don't know Nathaniel Hackett. A lot of people had dirt on their hands. It wasn't just Russell. He didn't just flip. Sean Payton says he still has it. This BS that he hit a wall, they couldn't get a play in. They were 29th in the league in pre-snap penalties on both sides of the ball.
Oh, boy.
He's not wrong.
We know how he won that job. We know how he won that job as head coach. I want to hire him right now, y'all.
Dang.
Yeah, 5-12 Denver last season. And a lot of that was on Russell Wilson. But
he ain't lying.
No, he's not lying at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think Russell has a big season. I think Denver is a team that could make a jump.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Shout out to that man.
That's a way to motivate.
AFC West with Jimmy Garoppolo Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, he better come walking with a big stick because he got a heck of a conference or division.
Coming up, more sound for the practice field. Takeaways from the defensive side of the football. We spent a little bit of time talking quarterbacks from St. Thomas Sports Park yesterday. Good to see Harold Landry back out there. We'll get you the latest on him. And Kevin Byard on what makes DeAndre Hopkins different. A good soundbite from the mayor of Murfreesboro as well as we continue into Hour 4 on Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
It's Ramon and Kayla for Window Nation. It's here. We've been talking about it for a while, but that heat, humidity, scorching, sweaty temps, the high temps forcing your AC into overdrive, leading to sky-high energy bills. And you say, why? Well, that's because the air is getting out of your house because your windows aren't sealed up. Solution, though? New windows from our friends at Window Nation, where you can save thousands a day with no money down, no payments, and pay no interest for 2 full years. Plus, Window Nation will give you 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. So protect and increase the value of your home today by calling 866-90-NATION or going online at windownation.com.
Yeah, and we all talk about the winters here. You crank up the heat a little, but really it's the summers that you hit that AC into overdrive, and that means this is a time where you're going to see those energy bills increase. You can actually save up to 30% on those energy bills by just investing in new windows from our friends at Window Nation. In fact, you can increase the value of your actual home by up to $12,000, and I know that will make a lot of those neighbors, Ramon, specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Very jelly.
Very jelly.
Exactly. So get in on the deal that Ramon just talked about. It is 000 for 2 full years. No money down, no payments, no interest for 2 full years. And if you're wondering, well, how do I know if my windows are in, serious need of an upgrade? You got mold, you've got condensation. All of those things mean get new windows from our friends at Window Nation. You can check them out. Call 866-90-NATION or just go online to windownation.com.
Thursday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville.
We were figuring
We were
out where
trying to figure out what
this
series
music is
this
from.
is from.
Jackson
That's
said
what it is. It's
you
about
got-
to come out with another season, too.
Yes, it is.
Well,
Winning time. The story of the Lakers on HBO. Yeah. I yet to
I've
watch
not watched
season
it.
1. You've watched it?
Yeah.
Solid. Well,
Looks
it's perfect
good.
for me to pick up.
I like
now.
it.
I heard it was good.
So.
I've got a good little list of shows I need to get to.
Wow.
I'm in a show drought right now. There's been so much sports to
too.
watch recently.
Yeah.
MLS and the Liga MX Leagues Cup has been what I've been watching every night.
What was it again?
MLS
The-
the league.
Did you say? It sounded like you were speaking Spanish, like you will be doing
Liga MX?
tonight.
Yeah, tonight, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:30 kickoff. Nashville SC and Deportivo Toluca FC.
There it is.
There it is. Look at my
That's
guy.
a tough assignment to
It
have to
is.
study for. You've been kind of telling us this. It's some extra prep work because you're learning the names of these players and their numbers, which, by the way, are not traditional.
Yeah, 3-digit numbers out here. Wow.
Yeah, we've got guys like Abraham Villegas, a 20-year-old from Estadio de Mexico, who wears 184.
Wow.
We've got Victor Arteaga, who's played 1 minute off the bench this season for Toluca, a 19-year-old from Mexico City who wears 198
Wow.
on his back.
198.
That's Big Jeff at another level.
That's plus 100.
We have Juan Lopez, who's number 257.
Oh my gosh.
The attraction tonight
is
the fact that Toluca's leading scorer is their goalie.
Wait, what?
Toluca's leading scorer is their goalie. So, Thiago Volpe.
How?
Penalty kicks.
Oh.
Toluca's been given 2 penalty kicks this season. 32-year-old from Brazil, who's made 168 career starts in Liga MX in Mexico, has scored 2 goals this season and scored 3 last year in 32 starts.
That's
He has
wild.
5 career goals.
That's news
That's
to me.
wild.
That is pretty wild. What's
So,
also, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's also going to be wild this weekend because George Strait and 50 Cent both are here. You get both ends of the spectrum. You get Nissan Stadium and also Bridgestone. I just realized it's going to be chaotic
Are
here.
you
no.
concert hopping?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying you can get both ends of the spectrum this weekend. George Strait's Friday
Go
and Saturday.
Shoddy, it's your birthday,
Yeah.
or what? What's the song?
You name it.
You
now
tell
that
me.
you're a George Strait
tell me.
aficionado.
No shirts, no shoes, no problem.
Oh my gosh.
I know
No,
that's
that's Kenny
I know
Chesney.
that's Kenny.
We need to not continue with Titans until you guess a
Yes,
song that's George Strait.
Exactly.
What?
You can't
We
look
need
up on
to-
your computer.
We need
either.
to not.
What are you talking about?
We're not going to keep
I'm
going.
more than sure he's
You
done
just
Tennessee
asked
whiskey.
Jackson.
What are you talking
No,
about?
that's Chris Stapleton. You look at you over there.
Low down at the hoedown
One
sounds
of
like
the
a song.
highest, that's
not a good
grossing
one?
artists of all time in any genre, by the way.
Yeah,
George
I
Strait.
I love it.
I know that's the reason I announced it. It's big time.
Give
in the
him a
big
little
kid.
hint.
I
Well,
don't need a hint. I'm gonna go.
If you want to go to a city in Texas at a specific time of day,
You might see one of your exes.
so
Because all my exes
There
live
we
in
go.
Texas.
that's not even
Like
the one I
George
was
Strait.
talking about, but that is right.
Yep.
Because I figured you'd get it because of the Drake song that
Drake
says,
song.
all my exes live in Texas like I'm George State, or they
What's
go
up?
to Georgia State where tuition is handled by some random person that lives in Atlanta that she only sees when she feels
Right.
obligated.
by the way, Drake
We're gonna
is
stop
also
there.
in town soon.
Yeah, he'll
right.
be here too.
Are we going? Do
October.
we have box seats to
I
that
ain't
one?
sure yet, because that one's going to be hard to get.
Do we have box seats? We can't get box seats to.
Well, we're going to the
Be in
band box. Why can't we do Drake?
We'll be in the mosh pit out here, man. But yeah, definitely.
The one I was referencing was Amarillo by Morning.
Yeah.
Amarillo.
If you want to go to
Amarillo
a
by
certain
morning.
Got
place
another
in
one,
Texas
too.
at a certain time.
Got
of day.
another one.
What's that?
I crossed my heart.
Because you're looking it up, Google
Nope.
man.
1992.
You are.
I got my peeps out here want to see me win. It's like
Sorry.
sending me stuff. Yeah, appreciate
Tweet
you,
it.
Chuck.
See, the only reason I'm disappointed in you, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed,
Yeah,
is we've had this conversation in the last month
we have.
because the joke was Robert's girlfriend is named Cheyenne.
Mm-hmm.
And George Strait has a song off a Blue Clear Sky in 1996 called "I Can Still Make Cheyenne."
I can still make Cheyenne.
By morning.
It's all right, baby. If we hurry, I can still make Cheyenne.
And we talked about that too.
We did.
We did.
Had a
probably
conversation
played-
with Ryan Tannehill,
and
and
what
I
he
told
said
him
was he likes George Strait too.
we had an agreement, and you see, he knows where he stands.
And you do now talk
Rand
like him
Carthon.
more than you think.
You go into your Rand Carthon invitation just
It's
randomly.
very weird.
I'm not even
randomly.
trying to.
It's really funny.
I saw him Saturday.
It's the pace.
I saw him Saturday at the
Was it on
Tennessee
site?
Sports Hall of Fame.
Uh-huh.
I said, you told him when you saw him it was going to be on site. And he bust out laughing. It was hilarious. I was like, yeah, man. I was messing with EB. I was like, you ever had a GM tell you that it was on site when he saw
Sure.
you? Yeah, no, it was pretty solid.
That's good. That's good.
He had a sweatshirt yesterday, too. Like
Football guy.
That's
Football
what he
guy.
does. He's
Gray-
always like that.
Gray traditional hoodie. This wasn't one of those cutoff hoodies. This isn't one of those like dry fit Nike Navy
Yeah.
hoodies. You're going gray cotton hoodie. You're a football
Yeah.
guy.
thick.
He'll
Gray
wear
cotton
sweatpants
hoodie with
too.
a hat.
I was like, bro.
Trying to lose some weight, maybe. Trying to
It's-
cut.
That's a thing.
Suit guy coming by probably later. You feel
No,
him?
he,
You always
he don't
knew-
like the suit thing.
You always knew in college who didn't make weight when they came back from off season.
Yeah.
Of who was wearing the sweatpants at practice.
yeah.
To try to cut about 10 pounds.
And then
Yeah.
that steam room.
I know. You're like, guys, it's
Right?
95 degrees out of practice and you got sweatpants on?
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, I'm so sorry.
There's a good amount of coaches, y'all, that are wearing those sweatshirts out there. I'm
Those are
like, whoo, you get it.
Arthur Smith is one of those guys.
Yeah.
But he's a sweatshirt guy too.
He's also a stash
oh
guy.
my gosh!
Just
you
took
told
that
me
from
about
Mike
that.
Vrabel. Took that stash look.
I thought about getting rid of the just doing the mustache, goatee. I don't think it'll work. It won't work for me. But what will work is watching Big Jeff flatline somebody yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
A transition from our Big J journalist,
Yeah.
Ramon Foster. Capitalize it. Defensive takeaways yesterday. We've talked about quarterbacks, talked about the offense. What did you notice on the defensive side of the football from people not named Jeffrey Simmons?
Arden Key, solid, fast, real. He's a slender athlete, but is a powerful guy too. His burst off the ball was impressive. I must say that. We spoke about it earlier, but him and Rashad Weaver together with Harold Landry leading the charge on all of this. You got a 1-2-3 punch of three guys that have a good bit of experience because Rashad got that last year. Arden Key has experience too. And however they incorporate Landry coming back, Harold Landry coming back, whether he be starter or whether he be on the pitch count, I feel confident in that group. I was excited to see those three dudes work. It was one play I saw Arden get upfield and get even with a tackle. I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's great by him or bad by the tackle, but it was a real good rep by Arden Key on that one.
Yeah, I think we've kind of mentioned Arden's name a lot, but what I like from him too is just the way he will challenge that line too. We saw it a couple plays, towards the end of practice, and we mentioned him, just the kind of intensity he brings, the challenge he brings when he's battling. And it's the same with Rashad Weaver, how Coach Mack had mentioned just the strength work he's done in the offseason, getting those bursts from the legs now and kind of hoping that isn't just you get worn out early. Like it's something that you can kind of carry out throughout a game when he comes in, potentially, for a guy like Harold Landry. I also did like I'd mentioned, Christian Fulton. I think that the work that he did in the offseason, you can tell in his body. Will mentioned the Titans put out some of the workout video that he's doing off-site too. His body is definitely transformed. Now it's a matter of, can you stay healthy throughout the season? I think if he does stay healthy, he will have a good season, because it's all about just being out there consistently. When he was out there, he played well for the most part. It was just the lack of being available. So I'm curious to see just how that's going to end up playing out with defense this year, this offseason training camp, and seeing who's going to step up, because I feel like there's a lot of people I want to see take the next step.
Oh, no doubt. Christian, too, of course, bringing it up because Jimmy White put it in his observations. The collision he had with Hopkins earlier.
Yeah.
I will say this, and I'm sure his coaches probably did at some point, too. Christian Fulton, I think, is going to be pressed to prove, right?
Yeah.
And y'all know how that goes sometimes.
New contract he needs, right?
It is. Like, Christian, let it come to you a little bit too. Like, I know you're wired up as far as practice goes and trying to prove yourself that you're durable and stuff like that, but I feel like a better Christian is going to be a guy that keeps that intensity but learn how to hone it in a little bit, because I missed the collision. I was a little bit later getting there, but I'm sure you guys saw it and was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't overprove yourself on this thing. You grinded all off season long, and I'm excited to actually see what this is going to look like with him and, Sean Murphy-Bunting and also Roger McCreary, like Elijah Molden has questions that have to be answered.
Got to stay healthy.
And now, y'all, we don't even have to wait on this stuff no more. We're going to see who's going to find, where they're going to be on the depth chart. And I got a feeling like a guy like Roger McCreary is going to be a steady Eddie when it comes down to it. And if the health of this defense really stays consistent, it can carry this team.
DeAndre Hopkins was on the practice field for the first half of practice before leaving for what Mike Vrabel described as a personal matter. When he introduced everyone to Titans training camp, really, on Tuesday. Kevin Byard spoke with the media after practice, was asked about what makes DeAndre Hopkins different, had this to say.
Yeah, I mean, he's a different type of athlete, different type of player, an elite player. He's been an elite player for a long time in this league. Obviously, I've battled with him years from Houston and was able to see him firsthand in practice against Arizona last year. He made an incredible red zone catch last year. It kind of made me walk off. It was crazy. But, yeah, I mean, adding a guy like him is big time for us. Obviously, be able to mentor some of the young guys. But, anytime you can add a weapon like him, and that'll help guys like Traylon, that'll help guys like Kyle Phillips and everybody else who we have out there. So, and, giving Ryan more options. At the end of the day, I know, Tim Kelly wants to throw the ball over the field, but at the same time, we still got Derek in the backfield. So, just adds a new level of, as far as what defense has to game plan for us as a whole team.
There's Kevin Byard.
Yeah.
What did he say, Will and Ramon? Like Tim Kelly wants to throw the ball all over the field, but we know there's still Derrick Henry. Like, I thought that was interesting too. Like, there's going to be some change.
It is.
And I love the fact that Kevin Byard, because that was my question to Kevin specifically, really about what makes him different from some of these other big name free agency guys they've signed in the past, right? And because that's what everybody wants to see. This is a different scenario, please.
Right.
And
so too.
and he's right though. There's many different layers to this. Like, he is a pro, but he's still got a lot left in him. He also can mentor, which I thought was interesting that Kevin brought up that point as well.
Oh, no doubt about it. And it's always fascinating to hear guys like him kind of say, this is what this guy is. Like, I've saw him make plays on us, and for that reason, I'm glad to have him on my squad now,
like
too.
The practice,
yeah.
practices.
It was cool seeing KB on the sideline a little bit, too, yesterday, man, just because, like, it feels whole now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's all, like, peaches and creams and all that type of stuff, but, like, it seemed whole having him on the sideline and be enthusiastic about work. But it is. Sometimes, y'all, you just got to listen to what the players and coaches say in these press conferences.
Yep.
The answers are there.
Little tidbits.
It's there.
Back to the phones where Alvin is up next at 615-737-1045, talking Titans this morning. What's up, Alvin?
What's up, Alvin?
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
Good.
Y'all kind of stole my time with Artie Key, because I heard he was beating up on our new left tackle yesterday.
Andre Dillard?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am. Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I heard that he was beating on him pretty bad. Y'all think we need to put in a trade for that tackle from Cincinnati? They got demoted to the right tackle spot or what? But I also got a question. Are y'all tailgating for the Virginia versus Tennessee game?
That might be do it.
Potentially, Alvin.
That might be do it.
Stay tuned, Alvin.
I always want to go,
tuned.
Alvin, like when he calls in.
Alvin, be cool, man, on what you talking about practice, man. We ain't out here talking
We talk about
that.
practice?
This is what I'll say about that, if that has circulated this. The way Andre Dillard said yesterday, players go into practice to work on specific things.
Well, let's talk about the negatives, too. Yeah, I mean, we've gone through the positives.
Yeah, we have.
We can absolutely tell you who's
and he
didn't
was
play
a guy who I said needs to have a good training camp.
You did, Kayla, and you've been saying that for a while.
Yeah.
And the free agent signing around Dillard has been, look, there's a lot of pressure on this OL to go and to claim your spot, claim your reign as who's going to be in, because the fact that they are bringing in other guys to try out wouldn't sit right with me. You mean saying we're not good enough, whether it's DeMarco Jones or Andre Dillard on either side? Arden Key, he's a heck of an athlete. What I'll say about this, I'm hesitant to say, hey, yeah, he did dog him out. Because players choose on certain days, like a non-contact pad day, non-padded day, to work on certain stuff. What I will say is this. His vertical set was legit. Hands got to come with that, but I don't know if that was in his practice schedule to say, in this period, I'm only going to work on my feet.
Sure.
You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not making an excuse for it, but Arden's legit from what I saw.
Can I
day one.
ask you this too?
Yeah.
I think utilizing Arden, because he was on OTAs and mini camps on the right side too a little bit, coming at these guys, and so I feel like, do you utilize a guy like Arden to really put pressure on a guy like Andre Dillard, where you're trying to get the most out of this guy, in knowing that he's supposed to be your tackle, like, because Arden is a dang dog, barking at you from start to finish of practice.
Absolutely. He runs high at all times. Yes, you do that too, Kayla, and you set him up against vets too. Like, I look at, it wouldn't shock me if every one-on-one rep that Peter Skoronski got this year in camp was only against two people, Tierra Tart and Big Jeff.
Yeah.
Right? It would not shock me.
Right? Yeah.
Why would I waste my time when I know this is my first round? Like, I'm not saying the other guys aren't worthy, right? But if we trying to make him grow up quick, Will, what you going to do?
You're getting now a better experience for your young defensive backs guarding DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
And your unproven offensive linemen blocking Jeffrey Simmons, Arden Key, and Harold Landry.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Important to still obviously magnify the bad.
But what is camp,
wasn't
though,
a ton
y'all?
of bad. It's just one day, but
sure.
Training camp is the build-up, though, too.
Well, that's the question we've asked everyone we've had on this offseason. When does the clock start? When are we all allowed to make legitimate takeaways that are either overwhelmingly positive or overwhelmingly negative?
Yeah.
That's the question.
My quick answer, 2 weeks in individual practice, and I say by the second preseason game.
Okay, that's what I would agree with then. Yeah.
Coming up next, headlines we've missed. The Big 12 adding a charter member again. Get to that. And a weekly, maybe daily, maybe twice a week feature. Our kicker minute from Titans practice.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Oh, yeah. We're going to kick it for one final segment coming up next. Thursday morning on RKW is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. As we wrap up the show, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you. Jackson Williams, our producer. As tomorrow, the Titans will be back on the practice field, and we will be back with Brad Hopkins trading one offensive lineman for another. No Ramon Foster tomorrow.
Yeah, not
one last little vacay day.
Taking a Friday.
Be good to hear Brad's assessment of what's training camp like too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He went through
Definitely.
2 days every day though.
That's right. 2 days. It was still a thing.
Still a thing.
We'll get his reaction to the big news of the day. The Titans will wear the Oilers jerseys against the Texans this season. One headline we had not gotten to yet this morning. We have DeAndre Hopkins' contract details, and the cap hit for 2023 for DeAndre Hopkins is a little over $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Pretty
Not
good.
much.
Wow. That is pretty good, man. Again, the thing that makes you feel better about this contract, too, is it's clear and cut. Like, not that much is coming from behind it. You know what I'm saying?
So you have zero guaranteed money after this year. So in 2023, the base salary is $1.1 million, and you have got a cap number of 3.6. If he was to be cut after 2023, you would have $7.8 million of dead money, and you would save $8.11 million because his cap hit next year is $15.9 million. Got some space next year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 void years on DeAndre Hopkins' contract: 2025, 2026, and 2027. His cap number for 25 is $5.8 million, and then there are dead numbers on 26 and 27 already, regardless of if he's here or not.
Yeah.
$3.9 million in 2026, $1.9 million in 2027. Not a whole lot of financial risk here for the Titans.
No.
Makes a lot of sense.
It makes you feel better about what the front office is doing again, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Like, you don't have this many players on the books. Like it.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins will be worth 6% of the Titans' cap next season. In college football, Colorado is headed back to the Big 12.
Are they?
They are. And the headline from that is that they will not have to pay an exit fee to the Pac-12 because they will leave when the TV deal ends.
Yeah, let me start in on this. So they're supposed to be finalizing this TV deal for the Pac-12, which seems to never be finalized. Like, it just keeps on going and doesn't seem to have an end. And I had thought last week when I was talking on here that it looked good for Colorado to stay. And then all of a sudden, you're seeing that their reports are, and looks like for sure, they're going to eventually join the Pac or the Big 12 in 2024. And this is a massive hit for the Pac-12 for the reason now that there could be potential followers, including the big names with Oregon, Washington, and this leaves this conference maybe not to be in existence.
Right.
And look, I'm going to be selfish. That's my conference, man. What do you feel like it would be like if the SEC was going through this and you knew your Tennessee Vols?
I'd be upset.
I'm livid,
Yeah,
you
I
guys.
feel you.
I'm livid.
Yeah.
Because Larry Scott screwed the Pac-12. And now it's in shambles, and it's never going to be the same, and it ruins it for everybody who's been a Pac-12 athlete, a Pac-12 grad. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And I don't blame Colorado, but it's just like the problems. That's why I love Greg Sankey, and that's why I put him up there when it comes to commissioners or just anybody in sports who's dealt with things the right way. Like, I get heated about this because it's torn apart a conference. And a conference that has challenged other conferences in the past in many sports. And this could very well go away because of idiotic moves.
Yeah, the teams they've reportedly been interested in adding are SMU and San Diego State in the Pac-12.
And
it doesn't move the needle.
And it's not even guaranteed.
It doesn't.
So other Big 12 possible additions include Arizona, who is the team that has been in a lot of talks recently, according to this piece on ESPN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got options. if you're the Big 12 now. UConn an option for the Big 12, which is
That's bizarre.
interesting and tells me that I think these other
UConn?
conferences outside the SEC and Big 10
Yeah.
are going to just concede football and say, let's pick basketball and other non-revenue. I mean, basketball is obviously not non-revenue. I'm saying basketball plus other non-revenue sports to just corner the market on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow, is this leadership that ruined it then, or is let me just ask you this: or is it the SEC and the Big Ten?
No,
too?
it's leadership, Ramon.
It's leadership.
And all that has
TV.
to do with it because they all were looking ahead, making their conferences better, while the leadership in the Pac-12, the commissioner in the Pac-12, completely was behind the 8 ball in everything he did and the way that he ran that conference. Yeah. I'm going to put it all on him.
They had meetings without him, is what you're saying.
Man.
They closed the doors.
I'm just heated.
Yeah.
Arizona State, or Utah.
Yeah.
The 3 most likely teams to join the Big 12. Wow. There you go.
You're not that guy, Larry Scott.
Hey, knocked it out anyway.
Our kicker minute quickly on the way out. Caleb Shudak was a perfect 6 for 6 from 33, 36, 41, 44, and 46 yesterday. Trey Wolf, the Texas Tech undrafted kicker, also perfect. That was Talking Kickers on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're back at it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Brad Hopkins will join us. It'll be Friday, and we will act like it. And right now, Ramon Foster, for the final time this week, gives you words of wisdom you need in your life.
Do not get on Kayla's bad side. She'll write a dissertation about it, say it over the radio. But in the meantime, your 20 fingers in your mic is always hot, Larry Scott.